Hello, everybody. Welcome to DCU Daily. Start of the week. Here we go. Let's get this party started. So, obviously, hello, everyone. We are going to start the show usually, as we always do on Monday, and that is, of course, box office. Toy Story 5 has opened the floodgates for this, truly marking the beginning of summer right now, because it is, of course, obviously a behemoth, breaking records, breaking projections, breaking all sorts of stuff, and we're going to be talking about that, and, very obvious, but that's not the only thing. We're going to be talking about some, a little bit of Obsession, because both Obsession and I believe Backrooms as well have passed 300 million, so we are going to be talking about those as well, in terms of that, what that means for, future cinema endeavors. And then we have MCU Weekly. We have Avengers, a lot of Avengers stuff, mainly with the leaks going on, if they're true, if they're not true, we'll be getting into that. Then more Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's essentially, we're kind of getting into the quote-unquote end game, no pun intended, of Spider-Man Brand New Day, with it kind of coming out within the next month or so. We're just kind of getting TV spots, a little bit more rumor mill stuff, preparations for maybe another trailer. But for the most part, it's just kind of like we are reaching the beginning of the end kind of stuff for Spider-Man Brand New Day, right before it, comes out in July, on July 31st. So there's that. Then we have some other movie talk madness stuff, mainly kind of quick hit stuff, couple trailers, couple of this, couple of that. Talking about the Annecy 2026 mainly, so talking about that, of course. Then our quick hits. Hopefully the quick hits will be quick today. Then we're gonna be getting into DC quick hits. Started DCU Daily. Gonna be getting into residual Father's Day stuff, as well as celebrating birthdays and who wants to come back to this and who wants that. Then a little bit of what did Gunn say. A little bit of Clayface in regards to test screenings. And then Summer of Supergirl, still more to come. It's less than a week away. It's only 4 days away. Although for lucky people like Dan and I, only 2 days away. So, gonna be getting into all sorts of fun stuff there. Social media, box office, premiere, all that stuff. So, before I talk too long, let's the world, one of the world's most beautiful men, tell us that we are indeed Knuff.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne. I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot, right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see Corin's.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
Here we are. Welcome to the news, ladies and gents. I am your host, John. Lovely to see you all on this wonderful Monday, because now it is officially summer, and for a man like me, that's hell. But I hope most people are happy with the fact that it is now summer. Maybe Dan is happy with that fact, that it is now summertime. Are you happy, Dan, that it's summer, or are you more of a fall, winter guy like me?
Well, I prefer cooler weather, but there's also good days and bad days. Today was a stormy day where I am, and one of the World Cup games got delayed by weather, which was happening not too far from where I am. It was in Philly. I'm not in Philly. Just gonna put that out there. I'm not in, but I'm in the region. So anyway, there's a game going on in New York. No, there was earlier. France was playing in New York, or New York, New Jersey. Really, it was New Jersey. They just like to add New York into the name.
Right.
But We got lots of folks in the chat, and oh yeah, we got Georgie here.
Enterprising. I will say this. Enterprising.
Say hi.
I do wanna say this. Christian Harloff and like the Screen Junkies contingent don't give a fuck what they have to say. Like that one, I mean, Dan was right. It's only a movie, and there are still a lot of people that seem to like it. First off, second, Christian Harloff, he's a dinghole. Like he was the same asshole who fucking threw a hissy fit because he wasn't invited to Galaxy's Edge with all the other influencers, and he had a fucking meltdown on camera like a fucking 2-year-old. So frankly, his opinion means nothing to me. So with that, and as well as the fact all the Screen Junkies contingent that he associated with for a long time, they were all like, I remember way back in the day. This was back when who was that fat guy that had the beard that was accused of sexual misconduct but turned out to be false? Andy something? I forget what his name was. But like they were all like notorious DC haters. Like back when the DCEU was still relatively popular, like they were notorious DC haters, and they put shit like Marvel on a pedestal all the time. That's what maybe kind of that's what kind of turned me off from Marvel a bit. In like the public like pop culture zeitgeist, because like people like that just put Marvel on a pedestal constantly, and then would shit on DC just to put Marvel higher on that pedestal, which is like what really annoyed me, and that's what kind of made me dislike Marvel a little bit. So it's people like that. Don't listen to them. Like, first off, go to the movie yourself, make your own opinion, because only your opinion matters and what you think about the movie, as well as people you trust that have similar opinions to you, friends, family, who are also going to see it. People like us, we try to remain unbiased as possible, but we'll see. But yeah, Christian Harloff. It was funny because we do have a couple links on YouTube right now, because there was like the live premiere had like a watch along broadcast kind of thing, like for the red carpet. I saw like Christian Harloff's review in like the fucking sidebar, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fucking bet you all the money in my bank account, which isn't very much, but still enough to be like, I'm confident to be like, yeah, this motherfucker hated the movie. So
exactly. And hey, right, dude.
He's a bitch. Like, frankly, he's a whiny little bitch boy.
Look, I watched a bit of his review, and it didn't sound too bad to me. But anyway, we got Monique in the chat. We got Tony. We'll get to that. I wanted to just point out again, Monique working on some amazing food. Marvelous Monday chicken and steak salad bowls with your choice of toppings and dressing, with my choice of You know, I wish I was able to partake in that meal. I had some chicken with some salad too.
That's good.
Hey,
they said it was very different.
It's awesome, Tony.
I plan to see it at some point this week. Since I'm seeing Supergirl early, I have time to go and see some other stuff later on in the week, where normally I would see Supergirl that day. So hopefully I can see the two I want to see are Death of Robin Hood and Leviticus. I've heard Leviticus is really good. So yeah, in honor of the month of our Lord, June, makes sense to go see Leviticus. Got to support the gays, so you know.
Hey, Pride Month.
But yeah,
and
also hello,
you know what?
Jalen.
Glad to have you, Jalen. Glad to have you, right, dude. Thanks for joining us live. Of course, it's all good when you're not. Even if you guys are watching us after we are live, we appreciate it.
Dan is here. Tony, Liz isn't here, but Dan is here.
Yeah. Like literally, Tony leaves us a comment after every show that he watches, like a whole review of like the topics he talked about, and I really appreciate it because, like, you know, it's good feedback, and it's also stuff that, you know, we then go back and forth.
Honestly, fuck you, Rob. Rob, you can go fuck yourself.
It's okay. And Enterprising, hope you are doing well too. And Hunter Iggy. Sorry, wait, who did you just point out?
Nelson Moreno's also.
Nelson, hey Nelson, man, how you doing, man? All right, so also, who's I looking at? I mean, Movie Spud is here. Movie Spud is here, thank you.
Geeky Guy dropping a super chat. Guy. Hello, thank you. Even Watu can't stop these Doomsday leaks. We'll get to that soon enough.
Don't you worry, we'll definitely get to that.
Good. Try your best to avoid them. Meanwhile, I'm not going to see the movie figure drawing, so it doesn't matter to me. but
Yeah. And Hunter Riggy, hello. We will talk about the money, the 100
thank
million
you, Geeky Guy. Andy Signor,
plus
that's
from all
what
the
his name
promotions.
was. Yes.
Yeah, we'll get into that promotion stuff that Supergirl is doing real. I mean, for Warner Brothers partners and promoting the movie, they've done really well. So the marketing department of Warner Brothers, gets a lot of credit for that. Getting Spikey's Hitman getting paid extra tonight.
Thank you for the additional
We'll
super
see.
chat.
We gotta try to figure out like what's going on there.
Also, no, I'm not concerned. It won't affect anything. It'll just,
Yeah.
you know what it affects? The people who are already not going to see the movie are going to now not see it even harder. Ooh. Okay. Cry about it some more, loser. Anyway.
Well,
seeing
thank you,
Supergirl this
Spacky, for your
Thursday
super
for a
chat.
2 p.m. screening. That's cool. Thursday night, Jackass Saturday. Condolences. Interesting take.
Rachel Summers instead of Jean Grey. Okay. No, I mean, look, we'll find out. It's just, look, here's the thing. I feel like they're introducing one of the key X-Men characters this early so that when we get to the X-Men movies, they're not going to feel like it's all brand new. Kind of like what they did with Black Panther. They introduced him in Civil War, then gave him his own movie. So Marvel's definitely done it before. And that's not even the only example. But hello, Sanju. How are you doing, Sanju? Thank you for tuning in. Hello, Decole. Of course, we love seeing you in the chat. Yes, do hit the like button. And of course, hello, Terrence. Hello, Terrence. And M2G's here. Going to see Supergirl. Yes, going to see Supergirl Wednesday. I mean, we're a lot of us are going to see Supergirl on Wednesday. It looks like if you got that early screening, if you're, is that the Amazon Prime early screening? Because like Wednesday, that's the only one that's on Wednesday.
Well, I mean,
right?
I didn't get it through Amazon Prime. I just got it through
Was that
AMC.
me? I'm confusing it. I'm confusing with Spider-Man. That's what
I think it's just
an
only
early
Spider-Man
screening.
had the Amazon Prime
Okay.
screening. I
You're
think
right.
Supergirl just had an early fan screening, which happens. Like Obsession had an early
Yeah.
fan screening. So
Yeah.
yeah, she's great. She's got legs
And
for
we'll talk
days.
about that too later, Hunter. Yes, there are. It doesn't look like there are any mid or post. But here's the thing: sometimes the early screenings they won't show the mid or post credit scene, and then they'll tack it on for like the actual wide release. So,
Which is
it's,
weird.
until. I mean, they've done it before, but like I get it. Like for example, I think the Thunderbolts early screenings did not have like the Fantastic Four thing attached to the end. But I get it. Like they want to save it
Look
for
how
like
pretentious I am.
very
I'm
latest.
drinking Pellier.
I currently just have some.
Oh, by the
serotonin.
way, everybody,
Yeah.
big news. Rob already knows this. Right dude already knows this because he's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
I did finally start reading Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow prior to the film. I am 2 issues in out of 8, and it sucks ass.
Oh
To the
no!
shock of no one. Tom King sucking is to the shock of no one. So Tom King sucks. Oh my god, crazy. It's not like the worst thing ever. It's probably not the worst comic I've ever read, but it's just so boring. It's just like way too much dialogue. It's just like damn.
Dude, look, okay, as far as those Avengers leaks goes, I think, look, some of this has got to be on purpose, because why leave them up so, because like they've got enough resources, they can start taking that stuff down as soon as it goes up. So the fact that it's leaking, and then it's also, because you got to remember,
There's so many of you in the chat already. Jesus Christ. What clickbait did you put in the title, Dan? Jesus Christ.
it's this time of the night is when we're usually live, so it's fine. And we appreciate you guys being here. Of course, hit the like button while you're here. We appreciate that.
Maybe it gets better. Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Avengers leaks plenty. Don't you worry. I'll make sure this camera thing survives my cat. But you know what? Let's get into the box office report, shall we? Let's get into the box office report.
Toy Story 5 scores year's biggest debut with 160 million, shattering franchise opening weekend record.
Yeah, so I mean, going into the weekend, we were all talking about how Toy Story is going to have the biggest opening weekend of the year, right? Toy Story 5. Liz called it like one of the 2 perfect movies of the year for her. Hello, Angelica. How are you doing? I have availed 5 tickets for Supergirl. That is awesome. That's awesome. That's like a whole family going to the movie, or all your friends and you. So that's great. But yeah, $160 million domestic debut for Toy Story 5. And then, of course, that shatters the franchise record because the previous record was, I think Toy Story 4 opened to 120 million. So this beats that record by a good 40 million, which, I mean, a lot of movies would give anything to have a $40 million opening weekend, no less 160, 4 times as much. So yeah, it opened to a huge number domestically, John. In fact, if you go to the next link, I just wanted to quickly mention, just by Friday alone, it had crossed the $150 million mark worldwide, including 70 million of that being earned domestically, which of course is the biggest, opening day of the year. But also,
that shit's happening. Come on now, Jalen. After this,
Toy Story 6 will happen. But like 70 million on its by Friday. That includes all the previews, by the way. Like all the previews go into the Friday number. That alone is like bigger than what they're projecting Supergirl to do the entire weekend this upcoming weekend, just for comparison's sake. And then if you go to the international numbers quickly, John, making 160 domestically, it made a 312 million worldwide, which, remember, we were talking about on the high end, they were looking at like 275. So again, I mentioned it's happened a few times this year. It seems like more people are going to the movies now than they have in recent years since the pandemic. So it over-indexed. It again overperformed. 275? What 275? 312. It made more. It makes basically, look, Toy Story 5 just made about the same amount of money in its opening weekend worldwide that Obsession and Backrooms have made in their entire run so far. Which, again, nothing against those movies. We'll talk about how significant the milestones are for them. But it's just, there's levels to this game, and I think Toy Story 5 is playing in a different playground than Backrooms and Obsession, which is, one of them is like a big family blockbuster for the summer. The other two are breakout, horror hits, which are opening up new doors for the filmmakers, which we'll talk about too. But John, Toy Story 5, not only was it like the number one movie across the world with 312 million, if you look at some of the other significant markets, like in China, it was number one as well. And then the domestic hit Dear You has crossed 272 million, but Toy Story 5 was number one. Also in Korea, Toy Story 5 was number one, beating out, the local hit Colony, which has been at the top of the box office for a little while. So, yeah, I mean,
which I'm
Toy
very
Story 5
excited to
great.
see. It has the same director as Train to Busan, so very
absolutely.
excited.
I heard about that. That looks exciting. And then, John, if you go to the next link, Toy Story 5, not only is it the best of the franchise in terms of its opening weekend, but also Toy Story 5, like I mentioned before, opening to over 300 million is well beyond any predictions, and now it's become the biggest global debut for Disney since Zootopia 2, which was what, like 7-8 months ago. So Disney, and this will probably not even be the biggest opening weekend for a Disney movie this year. Like, you're looking at Avengers Doomsday coming out towards the end of the year. If Toy Story 5 is opening to 312 million worldwide, I can only imagine like Doomsday might, easily open to 500 million worldwide. Like, we just got to go back to like Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War numbers to find that out. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, just the opening weekend as a whole. Are you surprised that it overperformed, even though the numbers were already looking pretty
not
high?
at all. Not at all. No shock from me. It's Toy Story.
Yeah.
Forget it, Jake. It's Toy Story.
Yeah, and like you guys were saying, I think at this point, if the rumor was they're going to do 6 and 7, then, I mean, I think it's more than likely. Although if you do a 6 and you call it a day, then that's like 2 trilogies worth. I don't know if 4 is meant to count as part of the story that they're telling in this one, because I haven't seen it yet. But because like 1, 2, and 3 definitely you could kind of like add together as a perfect trilogy. 4, 5, and whatever 6 was going to be, I don't think feels as, attached. And honestly, given that these are animated movies, characters don't technically age, especially when they're, plastic toys. I don't know, if they need to worry about like, oh, we stop at a certain number, because like this could go on long enough that eventually you can even replace the voice actors down the road. Like if you get to a point where, let's say, Tom Hanks is no longer around, or Tim Allen doesn't want to do it anymore, kind of thing, which hopefully will be years down the road. But anyway, Hopper's Toy Story 5, Moana, Spider-Man, Avengers. Yeah, you know what? Disney's got still. It's that whole thing of like the demise of Disney, the rumors of Disney's demise were greatly exaggerated. They always seem to be, because they got the biggest IP in the game.
They always come back.
They always come back. Somehow Disney returns at the box office. But John, that's not the only big accomplishment from a movie this weekend. Have you mentioned Backrooms and Obsession? You want to walk us through these updates, because I feel like this is just as significant, even though, again, different ballpark, but still a big deal for horror movies by young filmmakers who have never, been to the dance before.
Yeah. So it seems like it's been very rare for the past decade for original films to cross 200 million at the domestic box office. But Focus Features Obsession has done just that, crossing the milestone in the US and Canada as it enters its 6th weekend in theaters. Since the original Pixar, going back to Pixar again, since the original Pixar animated film Coco crossed that mark in the winter of 2017, only one other original movie has reached 200 million domestic, Ryan Coogler's Oscar-winning Sinners.
Wow.
Which hit the mark after 23 days of theatrical play and finished with a domestic total of just under 280 million after a $48 million opening weekend. Obsession didn't have the advantage of being directed by the filmmaker behind creating Black Panther, but it came into theaters with wildly strong reviews from its TIFF premiere last September. Still, it earned a rather modest 17.1 million opening weekend, which would have put it in line to give Focus a significant return on investment given their 15 million acquisition. So it had an A- cinema score. It was a lot. There was a lot of stuff on TikTok. And Obsession now currently stands as the 5th highest grossing film of the year domestically and the 8th highest worldwide, as it crosses $300 million globally this weekend, toppling Hollywood productions like Scream 7, Mortal Kombat 2, and Wuthering Heights. Amongst horror films, it also joins 200 million plus grossers like Andy Muschietti's It Duology and William Friedkin's 1973 film The Exorcist, which still stands as the highest grossing horror film of all time after inflation adjustment. Not after inflation adjustment is Muschietti's It film. So,
I mean, that's why I didn't realize there were that few of original movies since what was it? You said 2017's Get Out,
Coco,
that had crossed that had crossed 200 million domestic. That's wild. That is wild. I mean, it just goes to show you again, a lot of these big movies tend to be those sequels, which is fine. I mean, studios will make the movies that will draw in the audiences, but it's also great to see that original movies are doing well. Like, it doesn't have to be a sequel or a spin-off or a remake or a reboot. So yeah, this is great. I mean, good for Obsession, and again, joining some elite company with Sinners. Not only that, John, but Toy Story 5 might have been the biggest movie of the weekend, but there was one specific area where Obsession got the win, which was that, well, actually, this is more Backrooms, I believe. So let's talk about Backrooms for a moment, because we just gave Obsession their props. Backrooms topped Toy Story 5 in France yesterday.
Because the French know real cinema.
Saw an unexpected battle for #1 spot in this. I mean, that's a major market, and for Backrooms to beat Toy Story 5 in its opening weekend, that's the first time, John, that an A24 film has outgrossed the opening of a Disney movie in any major market. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. I mean, you might be onto something with, like, it only can happen in France, but they are like, hey, wasn't film invented in France? It's like it is like the birthplace of cinema in a lot of ways. So I guess they know their cinema. And movies don't make it to streaming in France for like 18 months after they're in theater. So you got to go see it in the movie theater. Otherwise, you got to wait for like a year and a half, which is always good to see. Mm-hmm. But John, in addition to Backrooms, Obsession, well, the world is obsessed with Obsession, because it's not just doing well domestically. If you zoom in on this, from the 315 million that the movie has grossed worldwide, which again is a running tally because it's still in theaters, over 100 million, basically 1/3 of that number, has come from overseas markets. And if you scroll down a little bit, they show us here the markets where it's performing really well. Internationally, the UK and Ireland markets are the top market for it, 18.5 million. Then you got the Middle East and Saudi Arabia. So again, that's bringing in 13.5 million. I wouldn't think Obsession would do so well down there, but that's great. 11.5 from Australia, India adding another 8.5, and you got 7.5 in France, 7 million in Mexico, Italy adding another 5, and then get this, Russia adding another $4 million. A lot of these movies, a lot of these Hollywood movies, by the way, just so because like, you know, there's still a lot of restrictions in like, you know, Western companies working in Russia. They're usually distributed these days through a third party, like a local distributor, but nonetheless, you know, the money counts against the box office. So yeah, the world is obsessed with obsession. It's good to see that, because even when movies like Supergirl, let's say, because we expect that to be the case, and then what Superman happened last year, there's certain movies that do really well in, you know, America and stuff, but they won't do very well abroad, or they will underperform in certain markets. Like India is a big market, Australia is a big market, like the Middle East is a big market. Obviously, European markets like UK and Ireland are big. So Obsession doing really well over there. 1/3 of its, you know, box office coming from there is quite significant. Are you surprised to see that? And do you think this is, I mean, because for me, this bodes well for any future movies, you know, from the director of Obsession.
Yeah, I think it bodes well, very much so, because you know, maybe there is some hope for, you know, major like indie films and independent films. So I mean, maybe Markiplier really did start something with Iron Lung, so that's something. So yeah, I think this is definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, look, it's not a movie for everybody, but obviously a lot of people have gone to see it. Um, and again, like I said, they're playing in different sandboxes. Like the Toy Story 5 making basically as much money as Obsession has done in its current, you know, lifetime at the box office in just one weekend, goes to show you like there's different audiences, you know, different strokes for different folks. Speaking of it, John, Curry Barker's got his next movie already set up. You know, moving on to his next one now. His third film is going to be an original horror concept, which is now set up over at Universal and Blumhouse Atomic Monster. Care to talk about that while I fix this mess?
Yes, I will talk about it, because Curry Barker's next film is going to, well, not be this. His second film is Anything But Ghosts, which I believe is coming out next year. It has Aaron Paul and Bryce Dallas Howard in it, and they're starring as like a scam artists who claim that like you know, to who are like kind of like ghost, like fake, like kind of like Zach Baggins kind of Ghostbuster type people who like scam people out of their money, claiming there's a ghost. They get rid of the ghost and then like just pocket the cash and move on. But then all of a sudden they meet something very real, and then it goes off from there. And this will be after that film, and then who knows when his Texas Chainsaw Massacre is gonna pop in, because I assume this takes precedent. So
Yeah. Wait, so this does mention it's his third movie, isn't? So is it that Obsession is not his first feature, or
no, Obsession is
other
his
projects.
first major theatrical feature. Anything But Ghosts is going to be his second. This is going to be his third,
right?
And then I guess Texas Chainsaw Massacre, whatever he plans for that, is going to be after this. So,
which is, I mean, dude, he's got like, I don't know, the next 4 years of his career lined up, which is fantastic. And yes, rest in peace, Clive Davis. He launched the careers of many huge, you know, stars in the music world that we know and love and listen to today. So we just didn't set aside time for that, because, you know, it's more about movies and TV shows here. But nonetheless, rest in peace to Clive Davis. Thank you for that, Tony. But John, before we wrap up box office report, we got to look ahead. Let's take a look at what the top 10 actually looks like at the box office, because we have, since we are now basically towards the end of the day on Monday, we have the actuals, as they call it. So like the actual numbers. Now, we mentioned earlier, like, you know, the numbers for Toy Story 5. Once they get the actuals, those aren't like, you know, estimates based on the studio providing numbers and, you know, ticket sale estimates.
Look at that fucking gap between
the
Toy
final
Story 5 and
It's
Disclosure Day. That's crazy, bro.
I mean, Disclosure Day dropped around 70% from its opening weekend, which again, it's not a good sign for any movie, because like I mentioned before, last week all the time, it was the problem with Disclosure Day was going to be, is it gonna have enough of a holdover? Is there enough of an audience, especially because it's not pulling the younger crowd as much? Because look, Obsession made almost as much as Disclosure Day, with almost, let's say 13.4 million if I'm rounding it up a little bit, versus 17.7 for Disclosure Day. Whereas the final tally for Toy Story came out to 159,677,000. So basically a little under 160 million, with over 4,000 theaters. But you got Backrooms there still making 7 million. Scary Movie, Master of the Universe, that's dropping precipitously still. It also shed another 1,000 theaters this past weekend. So they're still going to make a sequel, so good for Amazon. But then they got Grogu, Mando and Grogu at 4 million on 7. The Death of Robin Hood, that Liz talked about that last week, in number 8. Then you got Leviticus, Michael, which we will talk about in a moment. Michael is set for some big, milestones in a few days' time. This upcoming weekend might be record-breaking, in many ways for Michael, as well as just musical biopics and biopics in general. Then you got Girls Like Girls at 11, The Furious at number 12. Which, John, did you go see The Furious?
I did. I did a review of it with Liz.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you did. Okay, sorry. It's long weekend. Anyway, it's not like a holiday weekend. I mean, it was Juneteenth on Friday, but anyway.
Okay.
I don't
figured Valve has never been anti-consumer. They make an expensive product because the parts are expensive, and there is a shortage of said parts because everything is being funneled into AI. You think anti-consumer because you don't know how business works. Okay, sure.
Okay. Well, we don't need to be antagonistic towards each other, but nonetheless,
but it's just like it's weird how it's just like, oh my god, they're doing this, they're doing that. It's just like, yeah, because they got to keep up with the fucking shortages, because all these fucking dipshit companies are buying stuff to funnel AI, which can't wait for that for that bubble to burst. And so it's just it's just that's just what it is. Like, do I agree with it? No, but like, again, Steam and Valve have had too many wins to really like, oh yeah, this is the end of Valve. It's like, no, this is never going to be the end of Valve.
Yeah.
So
well, look, gaming aside, talking about the movies, and again, getting back to who said this in the chat. By the way, Disclosure Enterprising was saying Disclosure Day probably should have been a November release. I you know what? I don't think it would have helped it all that much, because I don't think the problem with Disclosure Day is when it came out. It's the audiences that it's targeting. I think it just like, we'll talk about it. It's going to be a theme today, and it's been a theme for a while. The younger crowds, Gen Zers and younger millennials, make up a bigger and bigger majority of the people that go to the movie theaters today, especially in the post-pandemic era. We have talked about it many times. Fewer of the older crowd, fewer of the people that are in the older generations have returned to regular cinema going. Like, they just don't go to the movies as much as they used to, because it's easier to just watch what's available at home on streaming and such. And so, they don't go to the movies as much. Younger audiences go to the movies more often. It's always been the case that you want to target that younger demographic for your movies. But like Disclosure Day and Master of the Universe, for two different reasons, one of them being, the subject matter, the filmmaker, and then the other one being more so the IP, respectively, they just don't appeal to the audience that's going to the movies a lot more today, and that's where the disconnect is. So I don't think it's going to change the box office depending on what time of year you release it. And that's not an indictment on the movie itself. I think it's more about just the time that we're living in. So that being said, we'll just I think there's always going to be an audience for a Steven Spielberg movie, but Michael is a film too that shouldn't have done well, but there's an audience for that. So because there's still so many people that remember and love Michael Jackson's music. So there we go. But anyway, John, let's move on. Let's talk about what's coming up at the box office in the next few days, because Minions and Monsters pre-sales are doing quite well according to Global Box Office here on X. It's actually doing numbers that are on par with Despicable Me 4, which means that the movie is now on track to open for what they're calling a monstrous $105 to $125 million, because the movie's called Minions and Monsters, and that's going to be a long holiday weekend next week, so it gives it a chance to do even more business over an extra day. So yeah, 105 to 125 million. I'm actually going to see an early screening of this. I got access to
I
one.
find it
So,
funny.
And
There's a lot of people that
I'm
see it
sure,
ironically, that kind of thing.
remember the last one? Like the people were going to the movie theater in like suits, and suits and ties, and then they were throwing popcorns. What was that? That was a trend. I remember we talked about that was before the Minecraft movie. Like the last Minions movie, people were just kids were just showing up to theaters all dressed up and such. So
Yeah.
well, I know Tony, you're not Gen Z necessarily, but I'm just saying there's fewer people in, let's say, your age group that are going to the movies as often as maybe you are. That's just the general, I'm generalizing, but that is what the numbers say. But anyway, hello, Steven. Yes, indeed, it is Supergirl week. Happy Supergirl week. We're days away. I mean, there's people who have already seen the movie, and we're days away from the rest of us being able to see it. And so, yeah, and we will talk about, there's a big channel milestone we hit over the weekend too. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But John, in addition to Minions, I mentioned Michael. Michael is on its way to beating Oppenheimer. It's going to beat it for the number one highest grossing biopic record of all time, which currently Oppenheimer holds at 975 million, and Michael is currently sitting at around 959.5 million. That's, by today that number is even higher. So basically by this upcoming weekend, Michael will most likely have surpassed Oppenheimer for the highest grossing biopic of all time. Are you surprised? Because I know a lot of us predicted $1 billion. I don't think anyone really predicted that it would get to $1 billion, like by staying in theaters for this long, like having the legs that Michael has had. But given Michael Jackson, was one of the greatest performers of all time, but still, like, your thoughts on this, Sean?
King of Pop, baby. There you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Tony, I think the post-credit scenes will be in the Wednesday one. Yeah, by the time we get to the day before, basically it counts as part of previews. People are paying to see the movie. It's not like they're invited to an early press screening. If there is a post-credit scene, it will be in there, which we'll get to later, talking about Supergirl. No, I think a lot of us predicted that Michael will get to $1 billion. If you go to the next thing, John, it's just I don't think a lot of us thought it would take this long, which is a good thing that the movie has had really good legs. Like for example, here's another milestone that's kind of unique. Michael is currently tracking to become Hollywood's first official 2026 release in Russia to cross 20 million. In Brazil, it has become the #1 movie of the year, surpassing Super Mario Galaxy. And in Japan, is dropping only 10% this weekend. John, it didn't even release in Japan until recently. And it's only dropped 10% from weekend to weekend. It's definitely going to beat that record for Oppenheimer in a few days' time. And we know they're making like a sequel. So if the sequel makes another $1 billion, then like M2G was saying, it could definitely be a $2 billion franchise, moonwalking its way to that kind of money. But the last thing, it's a bit of a bummer on the box office, is Master of the Universe. I hinted at it earlier. It keeps getting worse for Masters of the Universe, John, because He-Man and Co. They've only just hit $101 million after 3 weekends, and that's about the same amount of money that Obsession has made just from countries outside of US and Canada. That's wild. That's the amount of money that Toy Story had already made more than. Toy Story 5 already made more than that money, 50% more than that money by the time we ended Friday. That's just $200 million budget, and it dropped another $100 million on marketing, $300 million all in. Dude, this movie will...
And don't matter, Amazon is still going to fucking greenlight a sequel. They don't fucking care.
Like, $150 million loss. It goes to show you Amazon is playing the long game, which is rare, because most studios, when they take a write-off of $150 million, which this is going to probably
we'll never now we're dealing with studios where, like, the movie-making part is like a side hustle. Like, you have Amazon, you have Disney... You have Apple. These are all fucking side hustles to them. They're like, might as well make some movies.
I mean, they've always said, like, to them,
Jeff
what matters
Bezos can't
more...
spend all of his money on penis rockets. He's, send it to fucking Masters of the Universe and have it bombed 5 times in a row. Fuck it, we don't care.
I just saw a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 trailer. Anyway, yeah, they do have fuck you money, Tony. I mean, look, here's the thing. They have said that for them, anything at the box office is a bonus, because what really matters to Amazon is how the movie does on streaming, which is fine. But I don't think this movie, given that it's only made like $100 million in 3 weeks of release, which, like there's 5 other movies, including Obsession and Backrooms, that have done like at least 3 times the business in that time. I don't know what footprint it has, what kind of prestige it's going to have, that whole effect of, oh, that movie was in theaters, I better watch it on streaming, like effect. I don't think this will do really well on streaming either. So they might be greenlighting it now, but I don't know if that sequel survives, the vetting process. Like they might just realize that we gotta switch it up, go in a different direction, or maybe it just needs to have a smaller budget, and maybe it needs to be a streaming only franchise. It does make you worry about like maybe that's why they put Voltron straight to streaming, how well Highlander might do. But hey, hi Eric, how you doing? That is the worst. I mean, that's got to be like the worst box office bomb since at least Tron, right? Like Tron lost over 100 million for Disney, I think, last year, Tron Ares. And then maybe if you go further back, I mean, didn't The Flash lose like a 200 million for Warner Brothers? It was like something wild. So yeah, Masters of the Universe is like one of the biggest bombs in a long time. But anyway, on that somber note, we should wrap up box office reports so we can move on to MCU Weekly. Before we do that though, John, just wanted to quickly point out, not only is it Supergirl week, but over the weekend we crossed 150,000 subscribers. So yeah, us. So thank you guys for doing that. And of course, if you are one of those subscribers, we really appreciate you, and definitely do hit the like button, because that spreads the joy amongst the YouTube algorithm gods, and therefore other people getting to see the show. So with that, John, let's move on to MCU Weekly, because we got some Spider-Man Avengers stuff to talk about. Let's start with the Avengers stuff. Apparently more of that footage is leaking, and we'll get to the Kevin Feige part of it all, but yeah, it looks like we got another look at Shang-Chi. We got another look at, Yelena Belova. Obviously some of this stuff has been taken down, but we do have the merch, Doctor Doom merch. And, while the stuff did get taken down, before it got taken down, I managed to grab a little bit of it. So here's that video that got taken down that Marvel came after. So the fact that Marvel pulled it, John, makes you wonder if this is real or not. I think it's real. Like I said, it's just the VFX look unfinished. But
Kevin
we
Feige,
talked about this before. Are you okay, John? Everything all right? Uh-oh. Hey Jordan, how are you doing, man? I'm just worried about John right now.
And Feige, damn! If you see my
that was
brains
fast.
get
that was fast
exploded, you know, it was Kevin Feige.
No, he did not kill himself. The rumors are okay. So, I mean, that footage we just glimpsed at did get released in like full HD. John, I think you have some photos actually we could probably go through.
Yeah.
We won't watch it all the way through because we don't want to obviously end up in the same situation. This is upside down actually, which I think is partly to prevent the snipers from finding out. But anyway,
snipers
John,
from finding us. Oh no.
I'm sure we'll get to that part of the show later. But do you have some of the photos? I think we have. I think they're still up. They haven't taken out everything.
Is it this stuff or?
I think you have a. I think you have. I have a link for it.
Okay. Yeah. Here it is.
So
is it this?
Yeah. So I mean, we talked about this stuff a little bit before. So this is the big group shot, but then if you go to the next link for a moment.
I mean, to be fair, they do look that bad, but that's beside the point.
If you go to the next link, these are the okay. So we have these right here. So I think people have gone in and taken that stuff and then used AI to enhance it, remove the watermarks,
enhance.
which is why like some of this stuff, yeah, it does look like, I mean, this looks like it's AI enhanced because what leaked was with, clearly it's somebody shooting it on a phone of a screen that was playing it with a bunch of watermarks.
It was shooting
do not
a camcorder shooting a phone screen that shot a computer.
So it was like ILM VFX, unfinished VFX stuff. So I don't know, like maybe somebody from ILM, like the VFX house, leaked it. Maybe somebody at Marvel leaked. I don't know. I still feel like they're doing this on purpose because like it keeps them in the conversation. But these images here, I think people have gone in, like some folks have taken like AI filters to basically enhance the imagery because it looks too perfect. It does line up with what we get in that screen recorded
this
footage.
This looks kind of fake though, not gonna lie.
No. That's what I'm saying. It's like once you add the AI filters and on everything, it
Even
creates
with
like
the
these
AI
weird
filters, I don't know,
things.
it looks off to me.
Like for example, look at Nightcrawler's hand. That's clearly like a AI hallucination of a hand. I don't even know if that's a hand. Like once you get past the sleeve, it's like you can't really tell what's going on there. It does look like Alan Cumming, and in that footage, like for example the 10 rings for Shang-Chi look pretty unfinished. Like they're gonna have some temp effects that they will add into. It does look like Nightcrawler's hair will be white. He does look like a Watcher. And then we have this whole collage of images. I think the best parts of this is like the Doctor Doom images enhanced, which you don't lose a ton of detail there. And then getting a closer look at the Sentinels. Obviously Mr. Fantastic has a weird jacket on, which makes no sense. Still it looks ugly, but fine. But John, all of this, we talked about the videos are down. The videos got taken down, and the photos, I think, do you have any more of them? Do you have any more in the next link? Because some of this stuff is still out there. Like this is still out there. Nobody's taking this down. But guess what, John?
Yeah.
The videos did get taken down. And like you almost had an appointment with Kevin Feige just now. The DMCA takedowns are everywhere, which leads you to believe, because here's the thing, why would you take something down if it wasn't real? So if I were to ask you the question based on the fact that Marvel has removed a lot of this video, we were speculating last week, but it's almost like when you remove something, you give it credibility, kind of like when that Andrew Garfield image from No Way Home leaked, or more recently like some elements of the Avengers Doomsday, those teaser hints leaked. They were all taken down, and then Sony was even doing some takedowns of Spider-Man Brand New Day trailers months ago. So once it's taken down, John, I feel like that means it's real. No, like, do you feel like it's real?
And we're cooked because the movie looks like garbage.
Because I mean, look, again, they're unfinished VFX. This is maybe a close approximation, but these are like AI enhanced, versions of, again, camcorder level footage that we got. So I'm sure the real thing will look better, but still, I don't think it's going to be like all of a sudden a different location or like a totally different set of characters, right? Because the one question I've been seeing is like people are like, it just feels like there's like a lot of big hitters missing here. Because you count the folks, like you got maybe 4 Avengers, you got a couple of new Avengers, you got like 3 X-Men, maybe more than 3 X-Men. It just doesn't look like there's a lot of, like, it looks empty. Like, does it? Because I feel like there were way more Avengers than Infinity War and Infinity War and Endgame. And we know there's going to be like everybody in Secret Wars. So it feels a little underwhelming, no? Like do you like what you're seeing so far?
No,
or
it looks like garbage. Even understanding that this is like unfinished VFX and all that shit, it still looks like it looks so stupid. Like this movie is going to be prime slop, but it's still somehow going to make $3 billion.
Okay, Tony. Good that you're seeing those rumors. Let us know if they're true. We don't think they are. But yeah, I don't mind seeing some of these characters.
I think that's just people's obsession with gay, which fair, but like
it is Pride Month.
If they do have a thing in the movie, that'll be great for the porn parodies. So that's what I'm excited for.
Or you're going to be exploring Wood Rocket after? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. On that note, let's move on past the Avengers before Kevin Feige does actually snipe us for real. John, we have a Spider-Man movie coming out in literally weeks time from now. We got a lot of stuff to talk about from Spider-Man, A Brand New Day. Let's get into that. Walk us through some of this stuff, because did you see there was a new TV spot that was making the rounds over the weekend, and it shows like Spider-Man in a classroom, like basically helping teach kids about the value of, like, I don't know, like vaccines or whatever, and then he's, you know, the teacher, I assume, or the nurse pokes him with a syringe, and the needle just bends. So it does look like, you know,
Which is,
Spider-Man,
by the way, totally, you know, was already done in Luke Cage, but that's beside the point. Anyway.
but I mean, like, you know, Spidey powers are evolving clearly. I guess you can't poke him with a needle anymore. This whole
Yeah, because I don't think Spider-Man is invulnerable. I don't think he is normally. So that's definitely got to be
that's
with the new
different.
stuff.
Yeah, because if you go to the next article for a moment, because they did drop like 2 different variations of this ad spot, and you get a new look at a couple of characters. Like you get a look at Ramrod for the first time. I don't know if you're able to skip across it. Basically, you know, Ramrod runs into a wall as Spidey jumps out of the way. There's a photo right there. There you go. That's in that new ad spot. It's probably gonna be part of, yeah. That's literally recreating a comic book panel. That's probably gonna be part of like the montage at the start of the movie, where you get to see him fighting a bunch of people, while watching back, you know, MJ and Ned's years at MIT on his phone through their TikTok account or whatever. But they do actually, I think within one of these ad spots, there is like some narration going on. I don't know if it's in that comicbookmovie.com article, where they talk about how, like, there's some kind of narration, whether it's Keith David's voice or not, that Spider-Man's powers are changing. Like he's you know, got heightened senses, even more heightened than before, and of course, you know, his skin is, you know, not as well pierceable as before. One of these ad spots did get taken down because, again, they're trying to be, you know, careful about where they air it. But your thoughts on like some of these added powers, because there's even one part in this where he's fighting the hand, and you could see that he's seeing the hand move in slow motion, and he's not moving in slow motion, which does imply that maybe Spider-Man has some, not like super speed, but he's able to function faster than real time, which is also something intriguing, because I don't know if that's something that's part of his traditional power set. Like, are you surprised that they're adding, because that may be, again, part of the evolution of his character. Also, he's the only character who can sense, you know, whoever Jean Grey or this other Sadie Sink character's powers are. Like this, he's immune to the telekinetic powers. Like, this is all new stuff. Like, is there any comic book like grounding in any of these powers? Like, is that all new stuff for the movie?
I think a lot of it is new stuff. I think a lot of it is most definitely like newer kind of things that are part of the evolving shit.
Yeah. What are the likelihood of Shang-Chi appearing in the movie? Probably very unlikely. Otherwise Simu Liu would have already, you know, spilled the beans, given how much he wants to be in these other Marvel movies. You know, there's a non-0% chance, but it's very unlikely. Okay, but and then John, another question from Just Some Geeky Guy. Your thoughts on the rumor that Keith David will be playing Dr. Miles Warren, aka the Jackal? Did you?
Yeah, we did briefly talk about that. Would be cool to see, but I don't think they'll do it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be interesting to see what other power Spider-Man might have as a result. Like, do you think they're gonna go complete Man Spider? Do you feel like that might be too bold?
That would be awesome, but I don't think they're gonna do that.
Because the movie's not rated R, so I don't know if they can do that. Anyway, let's keep going, because there is something interesting when you think about like the Hulk role in this movie, because Bruce Banner has that he has that device on his hand that prevents him from hulking out, and then obviously Jean Grey's character kind of, you know, hacks into his brain and then takes the device off. That does make you wonder, John, because again, you have William Metzger, essentially Bill, they refer to him in the captions of the trailer, that Tremel Tillman is playing in the movie. That character in the comics is known as, like, obviously, like, you know, X-Men hater, like but do you think that technology that's preventing Hulk from hulking out is something that's maybe related to, you know, dampening mutation powers? Because that will be kind of, again, tying the DODC to this, like, maybe the future of the MCU where anti-mutant technologies being developed by them. Because doesn't Bill Metzger have like some loose connection eventually to like the Sentinels and how they try to take down the
Yeah, kind
mutants
of.
over
So he's
time?
like kind of a nothing character, though, from what little I know about Bill Metzger. So
Yeah, because
yeah,
in the
he's
comics you
essentially
ran the anti
he's like
mutant
a
militia.
Z-list X-Men villain that like I think showed up once and then he like fucking immediately died or something.
Yeah, Mike Flanagan in a Spider-Man movie would be nice, but I don't think they're gonna give him the reins of that. But he's too busy as is. But yeah, so do you think that Bruce Banner's like device is that? Do you think that's a DODC thing? Because we've also seen stuff where you get a whole body scan of Spider-Man. It would make a lot of sense that maybe Bruce Banner was doing that. Plus, also the world knows that Bruce Banner is Hulk. It's not like a secret, I don't think, right? Like he's not one of those like secret identity heroes.
I mean, they've
So
pretty much, I mean, literally in the first Iron Man movie, they had it so that like they nuked the idea of the secret identity
yeah,
just from an ad lib. So
but
like, you
but I
know,
guess what I'm
they don't
trying to
really
say
do
is like
secret identities in this world.
do you think there's any chance that that device that Bruce Banner came up with is maybe like either DODC technology, or he's working with the DODC so that he can, I don't know, like function as a normal human being lecturing at Empire State University? Because that might also tie into again how they kept that Jean Grey character, whoever Sadie Sink is playing, in prison on Governor's Island before she escapes from it. Like that's like I'm just trying to. Do you think there's a connection here that this is all again? Because they're gonna try to slowly build up to eventually. Because we're gonna see the Sentinels in Avengers Doomsday. We just talked about that, but maybe in the MCU down the road they're gonna go down that track again with like maybe a different version of the Sentinels. That would be interesting. But anyway, let's keep going because we got a lot more to get into.
Still got a lot.
Oh yeah, we
of
will
shit.
get to. We got Mount Rushmore Monday coming up. We have figure drawings picks. We have movie spots picks. We have Monique's picks. We have Liz's picks. We have John's picks, and we have my picks. I was gonna say Dan's picks, but it just doesn't feel right referring to me in third person. So if you guys have your picks,
Yeah,
you
I
drop
was
them in 'cause
on
we
one
can
of
go
those
through them.
damn streams where he was roasting Sadie Sink. I'm like, bruh. These poor beautiful ladies that are being called ugly by guys
Yeah.
who look like a thumb. Like, come on now.
Anyway, John, there's something interesting Tom Holland recently mentioned, which caught my attention. I'm sure a lot of other people's attention too. Do you want to walk us through it? Because remember how the world forgot that Peter Parker existed? Apparently, there was one person who did not. And Tom Holland was hinting at this, which is very interesting to say the least. But yeah, he was doing an interview. What did he have to say?
So, in a new interview, Tom Holland dropped a major revelation about Spidey's status quo, and he said, "No one remembers that Spider-Man is Peter Parker apart from one person. One person, that most obvious possibility is the Hulk, as there's precedent in the comics for that being the case. The Jade Giant remembered Spidey's secret identity even after Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Mr. Fantastic helped him undo the events of Civil War with a similar magic spell to the one featured in Spider-Man No Way Home. However, Spider-Man and the Hulk
That would make
have never really
sense,
crossed
though.
paths in the MCU, so this would be a pretty major retcon, as Bruce Banner's alter ego had no real
Right.
reason to know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Steve Rogers, who was in another timeline when Strange unleashed his spell, is a contender, though, as are any other characters who weren't on Earth at the time, like Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. Could MJ's love for Peter have helped break the former Sorcerer Supreme spell? We certainly can't discount it either.
Okay.
The reason why Ned is trying to find out who Spider-Man is in Spider-Man Brand New Day so that he can thank him personally for saving him.
But all of that said, John, it doesn't make sense that the Hulk would know because the Hulk is in the same universe timeline.
Yeah.
And then when Doctor Strange set the spell, it was like across all universes and whatever word you want to use, timeline, multiverse, universes, realities. Because obviously because I think it was set up so that the other Peter Parkers don't remember this Peter Parker exists either. Like everybody
Maybe?
forgot. Like was it? Because am I maybe I'm
I think it
misremembering
just
it?
I think it was just this.
Because
I
the
think
Doctor Strange
everyone
said
on
even he
Earth-
wouldn't remember him. I thought he said even Doctor Strange wouldn't. Well, are you sure it was only Earth? Like it was only that?
I think like
That's interesting.
the fucked up part of the spell affected the multiverse, but I don't think it had it so that those people would remember or forget. I don't think that it had anything to do with in terms of the spell, just the ramifications of the spell.
It would be quite the throwing us off the scent if he's just talking about his own character. Oh yeah, I remember I'm Peter Parker. Like, no duh. I mean, maybe Captain America, because he time traveled, or maybe because like, and he's in a different reality. I don't know. Like, that would be interesting. That's an interesting theory, Nelson. But I think in the movie trailers, it's implied that whoever this, telekinetic powers person is, it sounds like it's Sadie Sink's character, especially if it's Jean Grey. She's the one who knows. Because she's like, maybe I'll pay MJ a visit. Like, how does anybody know that MJ is significant to Spider-Man unless they know he's Peter Parker? Like, my bet would be that it's a Sadie Sink character, which the only way you can explain that away is maybe because she's such a powerful telekinetic, like, telepath. Maybe that's the reason why the spell didn't affect her. Like, right. That would be like I feel like the simple explanation. But maybe Tom Holland is just playing us. Who knows? Hey, Chimera, what's good? Hope all is well. This film about to make $1 billion. Yeah, I think so. Sanju saying Doctor Strange spell won't affect powerful telepaths. Yes, that's the argument I'm making. That maybe if that were the case, if there was a Professor X kicking around, maybe Professor X also remembers. Although, I mean, I don't think Professor X knew. Well, the world knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. So if it was public knowledge, then maybe some of the mutants who weren't affected by the spell could remember. Unless it's Steve Rogers, like, hey, from Queens, or like he called them Queens. Like, that would be, what would be the dead giveaway, John? If Spider-Man does make a cameo in one of the Avengers movies, they're probably going to be in Secret Wars. But if he shows up at Doomsday and Steve Rogers calls him Queens, that would be like the dead giveaway that he remembers Peter Parker. Yeah, it does look like Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. And also that she might be the one who remembers. Maybe telepaths are immune to magic. That would make sense. That would make sense. Oh, and by the way, yes, to your question, Tony, Fancast Friday, you guys voted for FIFA World Cup star biopics. I am working on it. We didn't do it on Friday. I'll do it like this week as like a separate show, and then we'll do a proper Fancast Friday for this week as well. We just didn't do it on Friday because John had no interest in the topic, which is fine. Yeah, dude, they really did waste. I wish they gave her a different character, John. What was the name of her, like, what did she become?
Fucking watch Secret Invasion.
Immediately, like, Secret Invasion, because she was like part Hulk, part like 5 other superheroes. Oh god, that was
because she was like a shapeshifter or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, god, that was like, they totally wasted her potential. Like, she should have been in a different role. Then again, Gemma Stone's played 2 different Marvel characters, although one of them nobody remembers. So I don't know what the odds are if you recast Emilia Clarke.
Never tell me the odds.
Yeah. John does love sports of all kinds, except he only loosely loves sports. It's more about like what his dad loves to watch than he himself.
I like baseball. So that's kind of the
extent. There you go, baseball. But FIFA is not baseball. So. Hey, Jordan's up on Algeria right now. If they lose, they'll be eliminated. So good for them. Anyway, John, did you know that the Holland and Zendaya love the games, the Spider-Man games? I didn't know that. That was interesting.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
They just did a new
not getting GTA 6
IGN interview, and as part of that, they mentioned this. Tom Holland was like, the games are absolutely sensational. Zendaya said, I get very frustrated because I want to play all by myself, and he'll try to come just like, let me help you, and I'm like, no, I need to do this on my own. You can't help me. That's just a very couples thing to say. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Miles Morales is a big part of the games, and Tom Holland has said he'd like to play a role in whatever succession plan Marvel has for Peter Parker down the road. So none of this is very surprising. But John, what is also not surprising is the pre-sales tracking for Spider-Man Brand New Day. We do have an update from, again, our friends over at Global Box Office on X. They were saying that Spider-Man Brand New Day has already surpassed 40 million in domestic pre-sales revenue, which, remember, is pretty significant, because I think the previous record for pre-sales was No Way Home. And speaking of which, Spider-Man Brand New Day is now headed, based on this pre-sales numbers, Brand New Day is headed for a domestic opening of over $250 million. No Way Home opened at $260 million. So that would be the biggest, opening weekend since No Way Home. Now, the number they quote here, $309 million opening weekend, is adjusted for inflation. The actual opening weekend number is $260.1 million for No Way Home. So if Brand New Day opens to anything close to that, which if it's already tracking for $250 million or up, then that's basically there. Adjusted for inflation is a very complicated way to look at things. So without accounting for that, John, that means Brand New Day could outdo No Way Home's opening weekend, and that's just a domestic number. Like, that's not accounting for like probably just as much money being brought in elsewhere around the world too. Like, are you surprised that it's doing as well, considering it was crashing websites a week ago?
I mean, it all makes sense to me. I mean, Spider-Man's huge. Like, he always brings in the money. So, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, this is good to see. I don't think we have exact numbers for Supergirl. We will get to the Supergirl box office tracking later in the show, but it's good to see that Brand New Day is on its way to probably a record-breaking opening weekend for the year. Probably going to be the biggest opening weekend for the year. I mean, Doomsday being another movie that comes out this year, we might break a record like a few times. I don't think it's gonna get to Infinity War opening weekend numbers or like what Endgame did. Those are still like the record holders of all time. One of them was like 357, the other was like 358. It's like wild. But for anything non-Avengers, that would be huge. So anyway, I think that brings us to the end of MCU Weekly. Yeah, Spider-Man probably looking at a $2 billion box office. Figuring saying that potential number may cause Spider-Man to make more than Doomsday. It's possible. It is possible. It just depends on, again, like the reception. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this Spider-Man movie makes $2 billion. The last one is sitting at $1.92 billion. So it just missed the mark. But anyway, John, we got Movie Talk Madness to get into. Speaking of Movie Talk Madness, the Annecies are happening. The animation festival. I think this happens in France. And we do have to talk about yeah, because there's going to be some big announcements. Walk us through this stuff, because I mean it's a lot of stuff still yet to happen, but we're already off to a pretty good start.
Yeah. Warner Brothers, DC, and Home Entertainment, we're talking about Batman Nightfall. It's being helmed by WB Animation veteran director Jeff Waymester, who did Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earth, which was not very well received, but whatever. It's described as the first installment of a multi-part animated event, bringing to life one of the most iconic and beloved runs in the rich history of Batman comics. So with that, and they fucking misspelled Nightfall right there. Many of recent animated Batman titles have ended up on Prime Video.
Probably not those two movies.
Batman Nightfall forms part of the Global Animation Events main special screening events, unveiling new tributes to legacy characters, legendary animators, and globally acclaimed anime franchises. Daffy Season, a new Looney Tunes animated short from Warner Brothers Pictures Animation. I
noticed a couple of things, by the way, John. So as this happens throughout the week, we'll keep following it. But like, this Annecy seems to be the big coming out party for the newly rebooted Warner Brothers Pictures Animation, which I think also the name used to be Warner Brothers Animation. Now it's Warner Brothers Pictures Animation. So that's interesting. But they are, going to be making a lot of announcements, releasing trailers. In fact, Batman Nightfall, they put out a poster for that today. And we know that on tomorrow's show, we'll talk about it. They're going to drop the first trailer for Batman Nightfall Part 1, which looks all kinds of interesting. I love the logo. This looks like the Michael Keaton logo, doesn't it? It's like the OG 89.
It's a pretty classic logo.
Well, like, it's Batman Returns more so than 89, I feel like, because 89 had a slightly weird thing to it. There's also dynamic duo information. We'll get into that too. Don't you worry. We got that coming up. Yeah, this is really interesting. Okay. Good stuff. All right, let's keep going. There's more announcements from
Annecy
already.
It's rated R, by the way.
It is rated R. That's true.
We got a look at Gross, Tom King, and the desecration of my girl Jessica Cruz, so that's fun.
So this was a big
the animation looks nice, so that's cool. And
like Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
hate this.
Why do you? Is that Jessica Cruz?
That's Jessica Cruz. I don't know. It just like
I
it
don't know.
looks
Why is there
weird.
a headband? What is
I don't know
that
if she's
all
wearing a
about?
headband or if it's like a shadow and she just has like something ingrained in her head. But it might just be like a shadow, I think.
That is
But
interesting. I don't know. That doesn't look like a shadow.
but
Anyway,
I
this was all
mean,
part of like a big banner that they had up for DC and Warner
I
Brothers
mean, you have
Animation
Batbite
Studio.
there, which is
That's
definitely
the
interesting. But
isn't that the Amazon Prime version? The whatever, what's that one called that you don't like?
Bat Fam.
Isn't that the same one? I think that's that one. But Creature Commandos. We'll probably hear about Creature Commando season 2. What else is in there? Is that, I mean, Mr. Miracle we talked about just now. Teen Titans Go, it looks like we'll get more updates on. All interesting stuff. All interesting stuff.
I still am not like I saw like a blurry ass image and I'm like, eh. Now that I see this, I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit better, but it's still, I don't know.
Wait, seriously, did Giannis just get traded to Miami? Oh, damn it. I thought the Celtics would get. Damn it. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. If they were going to ask for Jaylen Brown, I'm okay with that. Thank you for the update, M2G.
I mean,
I'll
the
get
whole
over it.
that My Adventures universe is definitely anime inspired, which I'm only watching My Adventures with Green Lantern to watch because I love Jessica Cruz. I'm not excited to watch the show. I'm just watching. I'm gonna give it like 3 to 5 episodes to see, and then
that is Batmite. That is definitely Batmite. Isn't that Batmite from like the Bat Family show they got going on right now? Isn't that what that is? Isn't there like a Bat Family? Remember we talked about it? There's like another Bat Family.
I mean, Jalen Harris said it's Damien from Bat Fam, but
but okay, well, same difference. The show is Bat Fam. Like I thought that's what that was about. Anyway. But yeah, it does look like, DC is going to have a big presence, so we'll be covering it as the week goes on. Today was just the beginning of the week. But Warner Brothers Pictures Animation did drop their new animated logo intro, which looks nice. The opening sequence looks fantastic. I like the color. It showed the evolution of it. They also show Warner Brothers Studios there, which might be the name of of the studio once it's acquired, under Paramount.
I like how it goes from like
Tweety
old
Bird.
school animation to like CGI to like modern.
Yeah. Oh, stick with us. My Adventures with Superman season 3. We got something coming up for that. There's some interesting stuff that's been going on in that show this season. It is I like the logo. I like that they kept the traditional elements of the logo, like the Warner Brothers shield. Warner Brothers Pictures shield, and then you add animation into it. The fact that there's Tweety Bird here, John, gives me hope that they will be getting a lot more Looney Tunes stuff coming up, because I bet you, especially with what's going to be happening in the future under David Ellison's leadership, he's going to want to monetize all that IP. So I hope they have some plans for that already. Yeah, a lot of you guys celebrating the Giannis trade. Well, there you go. The off-season, dominoes have started to fall. That was the first big one. We'll see what happens from here in the NBA. But John, there is some more news that came out of Annecy. Let's kind of quick hits our way through the rest before we get to, of course, we want to talk about Mount Rushmore Monday. But we, had some more announcements from Annecy 2026 so far, including Benedict Cumberbatch. You should say that name. I'm just going to...
Benedict Cumberbatch, Claire Foy to voice animated special Mog's Bad Thing for Channel 4 Lupus, but it's never Lupus. Films exclusive. Alley Cats trailer with Ricky Gervais.
Sorry, did you see
haven't
this?
we gotten this fucking movie like 3 times? We got Strays. We have the Jenny Tartakovsky movie Fixed, and now we have this. It feels like they're making the same movie like 3 times already.
Okay, by the way, Algeria just tied. It's 1-1. This looks... Have you seen the trailer? Because this is Ricky Gervais. I literally laughed out loud at this. This was hilarious. If you haven't seen this, please watch the trailer. This is going to be on Netflix. I think it's like a 6 or 8 part TV series. It's not a movie. So, this looks hilarious, by the way. The comedy is good. If you like Ricky Gervais's like sense of humor, then you will enjoy this. They got some other big name actors as well voicing the characters, but it's definitely rated R. It's very rated R. And I definitely I feel like it's going to be a lot better than that Ryan Gosling, Will Ferrell thing. Not Ryan Gosling, Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell thing that they did not that long ago. What was that one with like talking animals live action? I saw that in the movie.
And
Strays.
it was It was Will Ferrell. Will Forte was the owner, and
Oh
then
yeah,
I think Jamie Foxx was in it. It was
yeah.
bad. And then Jendy Tartakovsky did Fixed, which was essentially that, but it was like, but animated and really fucking bad. Like, dude, Tartakovsky's way better than that. I don't know what he was thinking with that shit, but
this actually looks a lot of fun. I don't think you've seen the trailer yet, John. Trust me, you watch the trailer, it will have you hooked. This is the best trailer I saw all day. It was really funny. I'm looking forward to it. Also, the animation style is kind of like old school. Like, I like the look of this. It doesn't feel like something that's trying to emulate the Spider-Verse style or anything like that. So I appreciate what they're doing here. But yeah, cool stuff.
Timothy Chalamet, Selena Gomez star in an animated Alien movie, Not Alone from Illumination. Cool, don't care. Apple's Eddie Q, Jerry Bruckheimer open up on F1 sequel plans, UFO thriller to Con Lions.
So this actually is kind of interesting. If you kind of scroll down on this, we haven't talked about co-writing a movie script. That would be fun to talk about one day, Nelson. That's a good idea. If you scroll down a little bit further, because Con Lions is like an award it's related to the Cannes Film Festival. This is something that was happening recently. Eddie Q was getting an award, and then of course you had Jerry Bruckheimer there as well. And so they were asked about F1 sequel, and also Eddie Q, who happens to basically be the head of Apple TV, like in terms of like all the content strategy and stuff. He's the one who gives a green light to all these projects. He was talking about F1, getting a sequel, saying we're going to come back and hopefully make another F1. We're going to do it again. Hopefully we're going to do another Formula One movie. I think everyone wants to see another one. It was Brad Pitt's biggest movie of all time. It was a great story. It was fun, and you loved it when you were walking out of the theater. They also, talked about how Apple, according to Eddie Q, according to Eddie Q, who again runs Apple TV and all their film and TV stuff, he talked about how, like, with every movie that they put out, they're not going to do like a hard and fast 45-day rule in theaters. They're going to take it each project at a time, so that whichever one they feel like, whatever's the best fit for that particular movie. Like, for example, with F1, they left it in movie theaters for a lot longer because it just kept making money. And John, if you scroll down here, beyond the F1 sequel, which we know they're working on, it's just a matter of time, they did talk about the new UFO conspiracy thriller that Jerry Bruckheimer is also working on with, of course, Apple TV and Joseph Kosinski. So if you scroll down further in this article, they talk about how Jerry Bruckheimer and Eddie Q both, alongside Joseph Kosinski as the director, they're going to be making this UFO conspiracy thriller that's it's going to be a little bit like Disclosure Day, because what Q said was, we're going to work together again, not just on F1, but with Joseph Kosinski and yourself, Jerry Bruckheimer, on a new project that you're working on about UAPs, which is, basically UFOs. And then Jerry Bruckheimer talked about the feel of the movie. He said it's kind of all the president's men, about what the government has been hiding, about what's going on with UAPs or UFOs all these years. We found these two gentlemen who were working for the government and couldn't figure out what was going on, seeing those anomalies, and kept asking a lot of questions and had a lot of doors shut up. So it looks like they have a couple of those folks who have, been part of those recent, filed leaks and stuff, and they're part of the writing team or consulting on the project. And it does look like, John, that this movie is going to be designed to sort of feel like, again, a conspiracy thriller, which is very interesting, because that's kind of along the same lines as what Disclosure Day promised. You've seen the movie, so I don't know, like, do you feel like there's enough of a resemblance there? But like, you're definitely, again, we're getting a second UFO related conspiracy thriller in a few years, which would be great. I mean, Joseph Kosinski looks like he'll be parked over at Apple for some time now, between that and the F1 sequel. I don't know if you're muted, John. Can you hear me?
Well, it's all very interesting and whatnot, I guess. I don't know. I was watching the Alley Cats trailer. That's why I removed myself from the fucking stream so I could watch it and be yeah, that looks really fucking good. It looks great, by the way. I'd watch that.
Great.
Just saying.
That's great. Love it. I was just talking about how this upcoming UFO movie is gonna be literally a UFO.
It's gonna be
conspiracy
phenomenal because it's
Joseph Kosinski.
Hopefully, it does better than Disclosure Day, even though Disclosure Day was a fucking transcendent, amazing fucking experience that people don't understand. Goddamn, bro.
Nice. Okay, Tony's going to bed. All right, Tony. We'll look forward to you seeing the rest of the show later. But we're not done yet. We got a lot more to get into. John, there's actually another trailer that dropped. If you can move forward to the next one.
This one I'll never watch because I don't give a flying fuck about this one. So.
Because Taika Waititi's next movie, Clara and the Sun, we talked about the other day, they gave us like a first look. So usually once you get like a first look and a poster, you get a trailer. So they just released the trailer. It's got Jenna Ortega in it. Who's the chick who was the Thing's love interest in Fantastic Four? Why am I forgetting the actress name?
Natasha Lyonne?
Natasha Lyonne. She's in this movie as well. And of course, Amy Adams is in the film as well. It really, you know what? It feels like, because basically Jenna Ortega plays a robot friend that's kind of like, basically an android that's, again, hinting at the whole AI android theme. But apparently, you can adopt them and they come with like no sense of knowledge of the world. And so they basically are like babies. And so they learn from their human
This
families.
is like AI meets Bicentennial Man.
That's what I was gonna say, because it very much felt like some of like the themes from Steven Spielberg's AI combined with like a few other things that we have seen recently, and you know what? It also felt like Taika Waititi giving this genre like the Jojo Rabbit treatment. Hi, Cricket. Look, this is Cricket here. So my other cat. But anyway, so that's all interesting. I really like the trailer because again, I really like the themes of what they're trying to do. And if this is anything like Jojo Rabbit, then this could be fantastic. Like it was genuinely like a fun trailer. Like it didn't blow me away or anything, but I really enjoyed the trailer. And it's based on a book that's obviously got a big audience. So hopefully they'll show up for this film. But yeah, it definitely has some good vibes. Hi, Anthony. If you guys haven't seen the trailer, definitely see the trailer because it looks very, very fun. If you enjoyed Jojo Rabbit, this has the same feel to it, which is why I'd recommend it. But again, having not seen the movie, can only go off of what the trailer is about. So yeah, but that's all the movie talk madness for now. Let's get into, the big Monday segment that we do, Mount Rushmore Monday. You guys voted for Westerns.
Properly this time.
Because last week you guys didn't, because I don't know how you guys did not vote for Westerns last time. No, I know figure drawing. Look, the Celtics probably dodged a bullet. I would rather have Jaylen Brown than have Giannis. I'm gonna get over it. I thought it was gonna be very shifty if they did decide to trade, Jaylen Brown for Giannis Antetokounmpo, because I think with Jaylen Brown you can have a longer championship window and you can build a less top-heavy roster. But anyway, all right, it's time for Western movies, John. We got Clint Eastwood, and that's Logan? That looks like Logan on the mountain there. So you guys voted for
You designed it. How do you not remember that?
Shh, it's fine. Don't give up all our secrets. You could have done that.
What, you think this show just becomes magically into existence, guys? If you think that, you're frankly an idiot. Like,
okay, well, dude, the Westerns, had their heyday, but I feel like even today, we still get like a couple of good Westerns pretty much every year. So, or like neo Westerns, which have a lot of the same themes. So themes. Let's talk about them, because we sent out the post on the channel. So that basically what happens is you guys vote for the topic, then we ask you what are your picks, and then you guys send us your picks in the comments, and then we bring them into the show. Monique, Movie Spud, and Figure Drawing did that. If you guys didn't get a chance to submit your Mount Rushmore of Western films, drop them in the comments. We'll get to them at the end of the segment. But we'll start with John's picks, then we'll have mine, Liz's, Monique's, Movie Spuds, and Figure Drawing. So we got a lot of them to get into. So Mount Rushmore of Western films, John, these are the ones you picked.
Yes, so I tried to run the gamut of various types. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly is the greatest Western of all time. It's just facts. Like, it's the greatest of all time. Like, literally, I I mean, I still own. I own all of the. I own the entire Dollars trilogy, Man with No Name trilogy, whatever you want to fucking call it. I watched them all in one day, and I thought A Fistful of Dollars was good, not great. It was a very good movie, but it was very slow. I much prefer Yojimbo, which was essentially Akira Kurosawa's original,
Hmm.
and then got refitted into a western. And then I found For a Few Dollars More, that was amazing. I mean, that brought Lee Van Cleef into the mix, and just overall, just a fucking absolute amazing, amazing film. Then, then just the good, the bad, the good and the bad and the ugly is just it was again like it was an experience. I will say this. Um for Fistful of Dollars was a very good western. For a Few Dollars More was a superbly made film. The Good, the Bad and the Ugly was an absolutely brilliant experience. That is it's just nothing comes close. Like, don't get me wrong, I mean, I think all four of these movies are amazing in their own separate ways, but like The Good and Bad the Ugly is like it's a 3-hour movie that doesn't feel like it. It is an epic, it is an experience, and god damn it, now I want to
Ooh,
fucking watch it
Stagecoach.
again because it is truly an amazing it's the greatest of all. It's the GOAT. It is the GOAT Western. However, Unforgiven, this was essentially I mean, it was intended to be Clint Eastwood's Logan. Like, that was like, this was his
Hmm.
retirement from the Western. He was getting old, so he's like, you know what, this is gonna be my swan song. And unlike Hugh Jackman, he actually held himself to it because fuck Hugh Jackman. But even with that, it's just, again, I feel like
Algeria just
even just
scored.
watching it that one time, I still feel like I didn't get enough from it. Not saying it's a bad movie. It's just like I feel like I didn't see as much. Like, there was probably more that I was missing because it's just like of how well made it was. Clint Eastwood's brilliant. Gene Hackman is brilliant. I believe Richard Harris is in there. He's brilliant. Um, Amazing movie. Just like, just like the classic like swan song, kind of like how The Shootist was for John Wayne. This was Clint Eastwood's like he's like, this is my goodbye, and he made it truly. Uh, Oscar winner. It won at the 1993 Academy Awards for Best Picture. And even though I do think The Good, the Bad, the Ugly um is the superior film, this was a smaller, more personal film for Clint Eastwood, and I think because of that, it works in some cases better. But I just think Good, the Bad, the Ugly is an overall better film. But Unforgiven is just too brilliant that I couldn't not put it on the list. And No Country for Old Men, I now I did wrestle with putting a John Wayne film because, like, you gotta have John Wayne, but I wanted more of like running the gamut of like as many westerns as I could with iconography. I probably could have put like The Searchers instead of Blazing Saddles, but again, I the bias won out. I love Blazing Saddles, so we'll get to that soon. But No Country for Old Men, that's like arguably the best neo western. Hell or High Water is up there, but No Country for Old Men. Again, I watched this like, a lot of hype around it. Again, won the Academy Award, and it's just as amazing as everyone says it is. Very just Javier Bardem gives probably the best performance of his career. He's done a lot of great performances. That still remains his best in that fucking absolutely abhorrently god awful wig that he didn't want to wear, but the Coen brothers like, no, you gotta wear it. And he's like, why? He's like, they're like, shut up. And then he's like, okay. Um, but yeah, No Country for Old Men, that's like probably the best neo-Western, where it's like a lot of Western ideas, Western setting, but it takes place in modern settings with modern themes and modern ideas. Then Blazing Saddles. I mean, come on. Mel Brooks? Really? Up yours. Word I can't say. But yeah, it's a Blazing Saddles is a classic. Like, again, I try not to go with bias on these. I try not to go with I try to go with like what I think the best is, but Blazing Saddles I just love too much. And plus, it's like a tiny corner of like, oh, the parody is just as good as the things it's parodying. So, it's great. But yeah, if we're going with more traditional westerns, I probably would have put The Searchers, because that's arguably John Wayne's best western, instead of Blazing Saddles. But Blazing Saddles I just love a little bit more. So that's well, I just love it because, well, I've seen it. I have not seen The Searchers. I know, travesty. I have not seen The Searchers. Um, but yeah, this I think the good, the bad, the ugly is the best western of all time. I think Unforgiven is the best in terms of personal small scale. No Country for Old Men's the best neo western, and then Blazing Saddles is just, I mean, technically the best western parody. The only other one is A Million Ways to Die in the West, and that was kind of mid. So, but yeah, so that's my list. I think yo, what a white woman at. Anyway, but yeah. I've not actually seen Three Amigos. I know, again, another travesty, but I'm not a big Chevy Chase fan. He's kind of a dickhole, and none of his movies have impressed me. Like, he was good in Caddyshack only because everyone else was like way better and way funnier, and he barely had a role, so there was that. Um but Yeah, I mean, Gunsmoke, Bonanza.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, here's the thing, it's like westerns as a genre, like, so basically what superhero movies are today, before that it used to be musicals, before that it was the westerns, and then westerns kind of came back in style and then went out of style again. It's just, that was the genre of its
Well,
time.
because you had like
So,
traditional westerns from like the
right.
30s to around the 50s, but then when counterculture
John
started to
Ford
get
and yeah.
popular, that's when the spaghetti western came in, where it
Yep.
was like super cheaply made movies that were
Made
made
in
by
Italy,
Italians in
Sergio Leone,
Europe.
like,
So,
Yep.
you also had a Once Upon a Time in the West, which I haven't
Hey,
seen. And
that
then,
actually makes an appearance on one of the Mount Rushmores later.
so yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is, I tried to go with best, but Blazing Saddles was a personal bias. But if
Yeah.
if I could put a fifth one, I would have put The Searchers. That's because that's like
That somebody else
arguably
did.
John Wayne's best.
Somebody else
like,
did,
movie.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, it's, yeah. Heck, by the way, Clint Eastwood is gonna be on a lot
goddamn
of good ones today.
Italians.
Yeah. Yeah, Anthony. It's, I mean, yeah, you're right. Blazing Saddle is one of those, like, it's like, it's so good. It's as good as, any other movie that it was actually trying to parody.
Yep.
But yeah. Let's move on.
These are simple farmers, morons. I will say the one scene that doesn't hold up is like when they're eating the beans and farting around the campfire. That's the only one that's like kind of dated and not really all that
it's
funny. But
comedy.
but the thing is, Mel Brooks was trying to prove a point with this. He's like, because he explained it. I'm like, okay, I understand why it's in the movie, because he was like, yeah, when you're watching these old westerns, these guys are eating like meats, heavy carbs, beans. These motherfuckers would be shitting and farting their brains out. Don't even, and yet they're like these prim and proper dudes. What a white women at? Yeah, classic. But so that's why he put in there, because it's like, he's like, I view that to be kind of realistic, because they, if they're eating that many beans and like, red meats and shit like that, they're gonna be farting up a storm. So yeah, although Dan left, so we gotta wait a bit. Yes, Mel Brooks does turn 100 on June 28th. And we have upcoming Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. I know it's not called The Search for More Money, but that's what it's called in our hearts. That's what it'll be called. Anyway, Dan, you have your list to get into now.
Yeah. Oh, you're okay. My cat's talking to me. Um, and for my next trick, Jesse Owens. Okay. All right. So I have a Mount Rushmore that looks fairly different from John's. But that's okay. I mean, I looked at it as like both like trying to balance out like objectively some of the best movies in the Western genre of all time and some of my favorite, but also I went beyond just Hollywood movies because I grew up watching a lot of movies in, Bollywood and stuff. So I put in Sholay, which is right there on the third one over. I'll start there. It's probably the one movie that most of you guys probably haven't seen, but it came out in 1975. It's one of the most iconic like Bollywood movies of all time. It just celebrated its 50th anniversary last year and did a whole re-release. If you haven't seen it, it's got all the Western vibes. I mean, it's obviously an Indian movie, so like, not your traditional cowboy stuff, but definitely has all the Western vibes. It actually takes place in like a lot of similar locales as well. So there's that. And then of course, Once Upon a Time in the West. I think probably for like Sergio Leone is one of the, most iconic Western directors of all time. But I mean, you got some amazing actors in that movie. I'm just gonna look up some of the names, but essentially for me, the reason why this stands out like really really above a lot of the other ones, it's got one of the most iconic, opening sequences any Western movie I've ever seen. You've got the good, bad, and the ugly. Like, for me, that's the other one. Claudia Cardinale, Henry Fonda, Jane Fonda, Henry Fonda. Like, you got a lot of those, like, legends of how Charles Bronson, like people who we have seen a lot of, second generation actors descend from, like, were a part of this movie. Came out in 1968. To this day, I feel like still is one of the best, Westerns of all time. It actually, no, it came out in 1969, July 4th, actually, 1969. So it was released on America's birthday in 1969. I don't think they're legally required to have cows in Indian Westerns, but I appreciate the question. M2G might be heading to bed. Well, M2G, thank you for joining us. If you are heading out for the night, do hit the like button. Of course, Unforgiven, I can't not include that. I feel like that is, to me, the single best Western movie of all time that ever made. And I put it right next to, in my list, to Logan, which, I also put there because, again, as far as neo-Westerns go, for me, Logan is probably the best neo-Western I've ever seen. And regardless of what has happened since or will continue to happen in the future with regards to Wolverine and Hugh Jackman playing the character, I think Logan still stands as, like, you talk again, I mentioned how Westerns were the de facto genre of, like, choice in Hollywood for decades. Superhero movies are that today and have been for the past couple of decades. And then Logan takes the best of both worlds and gives us some of the most iconic portrayals of Wolverine, as well as, of course, you got, Professor X. Like, holy shit, Patrick Stewart got to really act the shit out of that movie. You introduced X-23. Like, it just, there's so many elements. Like, it's wild how well James Mangold got that movie right. And then, again, studio interference seemed to not be a thing. It was rated R. I mean, look, Unforgiven has so many great themes. It's like, the thing about Westerns is, like, if you go back to the heyday of the Western movies, like the traditional Westerns, as well as, like, later on, like, the spaghetti Westerns, a lot of them, like, feel like, again, it's kind of like James Bond movies. They sort of, like, play by a different set of rules. They sort of exist in their own time. Unforgiven, for being a true Western, still holds up today in terms of the themes that it has and the character stories that it tells. And it's rare that you see a Western movie whose values are still aligned with the world that we live in today. Not in every respect, but it still feels like a movie that has aged, about as well as, as wine. So, yeah, for me, like, Unforgiven is probably the greatest Western of all time. Clint Eastwood is one of maybe two or three. If you were to do a Westerns, lead actor Mount Rushmore, you'd have, John Ford on there, you'd have John Wayne on there, you'd have Clint Eastwood on there. It's just, I'm trying to think of a fourth one, but, like, it's these guys, like, yeah, they defined the genre for decades. Like, Clint Eastwood was in Westerns across, like, I don't know, like 7 decades of his career. Like, think about that for a moment. Like his oldest Western movie, I think, came out in like the 40s or 50s, something like that. And then the last one that he did was in like the 90s. It's like, it's crazy to think about how long, like he was doing Western movies off and on, and different variations and such. So I think that's just, yeah, it makes so much sense. But yeah, I mean, look, spaghetti Westerns became like a resurgence for the genre. And today, like, some people look back at those as some of the great, like, it's, for me, it was really difficult to not put the good, bad, and the ugly in this, because I wanted to put like Sholay in there to represent for myself and my personal preference. But I think that list is pretty solid. You wouldn't go wrong watching any four of these movies. They all very much define the genre of a Western. So let me know what you guys think about that. And then from there, of course, we got to move on to talking about Liz's picks. Now, I'll preface Liz's picks by saying she is somebody who self-admittedly isn't really like a big fan of Western, and she hasn't seen a lot of Western movies, but the ones that she has seen, she picked out a few from there. So be kind to her picks, but I think she has a pretty good top 4 here. So yeah, thank you, MTG. I think Logan belongs on the list for me personally, at least. But for Liz, she's got Giant, she's got John Carter, which definitely has Western themes. She was actually talking to us about that yesterday. Oh, not yesterday, on Friday after the show, that John Carter definitely did feel like a Western. It was also like a bit of a time travel movie. So, definitely feels like it belongs. And again, Liz has a more limited purview, but I think these are all still great movies, like Monique is saying. Far and Away, you got a Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman movie in there. Far and Away, I got Lou Diamond Phillips right there, and Charlie, of course. So Liz picked, of course, Giant. She picked John Carter. She picked Young Guns, and she originally had Back to the Future 3, and then she was like, no, I'm gonna put Far and Away in there. So we got Far and Away in there. I don't know what you guys, what your mileage is with any of these movies. I feel like John Carter always deserved a lot better than it got. And Disney didn't really market it properly, considering, how much money they spent making it. But I mean, you got Giant, James Dean, Elizabeth Taylor. It's one of those iconic Western movies. Like, there was a time when Westerns were so popular, literally every big actor had to do a few of them in their careers. And, Giant is one of those iconic ones. Far and Away, from a different time, but still, I mean, John, this is Liz's list. John Carter, Giant, Young Guns, and Far and Away.
I'm sorry, I don't consider John Carter a Western. Sorry.
I think it works. I mean, it's Mars, but like Mars does kind of look like the Midwest, well, like, the Southwest in America a little bit. It's a stretch, but I allow it personally. I think John Carter is, again, a way better movie than it ever got credit for. And I think Liz, again, she hasn't seen as many Westerns, but for her, these were the 4 that stuck out, which I think this is a respectable list. It's certainly the most unique list. This might also be the only list that doesn't actually include a Clint Eastwood movie. So, but yeah, Randolph Scott, Tim Holt, James Stewart, Joel McCrea. I was talking about, John, if you were to do a Mount Rushmore of Western actors, like, you obviously got to have John Wayne, Clint Eastwood in there. Who else would you put in that?
That's a great question. I feel like
John Ford. Would you put like that?
Well, he's the director, so I don't know if that counts.
That's okay. So the Western. I'm trying to think back to who else. Who else would you do? I mean, James Stewart did do quite a few. But like, he did so many. Henry Fonda comes to mind, but like, because he was in Once Upon a Time in the West. Yeah. But it's I think consistently across the board. I mean, Burt Lancaster is a good one, actually. Burt Lancaster did quite a few. Kirk Douglas, father of Michael Douglas. Yeah, I think there's like 2. Glenn Ford is what I was thinking of, not John Ford. Glenn Ford. Then you got Henry Fonda. There's
Gary Cooper. He's definitely up there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Man, that.
Although I will say, I'm about to say something that'll piss off all the Western fans. I don't like High Noon. I don't like High Noon.
Really? Okay.
I'm sorry. I remember watching it. I'm like, okay, this is considered one of the greatest Westerns of all time. All this shit. Literally 90% of that movie is a guy going or slowly walking around a town being like, hey, can you help me? They say no. And like, that's most of the movie. And then we get to a mediocre gunfight and that's it. That's the movie. And I'm like, nope. Sorry. That sucked. That was not good. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say something even that'll piss off even more people. Outland with Sean Connery is a better High Noon than High Noon, because that was essentially a Western in space. And it was phenomenal.
Cool.
If you have not seen Outland, it's High Noon, but good. Thank you, Anthony! High Noon is so fucking overrated. So overrated. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Great actors.
Okay.
Decent premise. Outland did it better. Okay. And Sean Connery's goated, so of course, but
all right.
High Noon sucks.
Well, John, we got Monique's picks coming up next. Monique, you're still in the chat, so definitely feel free to share to us why you picked these 4 picks. Well, John, you want to walk us through Monique's Mount Rushmore of Western movies?
Yes.
Oh, that's a pretty impressive list, actually.
But they have Kill Bill, Claim something, Tombstone, and
The Claim is The Claim.
The Claim and the Jack Bull. I can't read that. The Jack Bull?
The Jack Bull. Yeah, the
okay.
Jack Bull.
I've never heard of the Jack Bull.
John
I've never heard of
Cusack,
Claim, whatever.
Goodman.
Tombstone, I have not seen it, but I've heard it's great. Kill Bill.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a neo-Western a little bit. It's like kind of like a little bit of everything. So I'm like, but yeah, I would categorize it as a Western.
Yeah.
But yeah, good stuff. Good list. I mean, I wish I really knew
Goodman.
2 of them, because I don't really know the first and third ones all that much. But
so,
yeah.
I mean, the Jack Bull came out in 1999. It's about a horse trader seeking justice against a greedy landowner who wronged him, which feels very much like a Western. It actually had Drake Bell in it from Drake and Josh, John McGinley in it as well, who we will talk about later on when we get into the quick hits. Dick Cusack actually wrote the movie, was also in the movie. But yeah, I mean, from the 90s. Monique's got a couple of, I think The Claim is also from the 90s. Am I wrong about that? That's another one from the 90s. Oh, no, 2000. It's right around that time. Bit of a Western romance with Peter Mullen in the lead. Wow, that's another one of those guys who didn't quite last as a leading man in Hollywood.
But I recognize Wes Bentley.
Yep. Sarah Polley, Natasha Kinski. Looks like a love triangle kind of a thing to me. I have not seen it, but Monique, that sounds like a lot of fun. Monique says it taps into the idea of justice and consequences, the Jack Bull. Yeah,
I mean, it's got a good
every
cast.
good Western
I
does
like
that.
John Cusack and
do.
John Goodman, so
yeah, you can't go wrong with it. God, John Goodman plays such a hateable bad guy.
Well, that's why people want him for the Judge if they ever make a Blood Meridian adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, oh my God, he would be good, but they haven't gotten it off the ground ever.
I'm like, of all the Quentin Tarantino neo-Westerns, I wouldn't have picked Kill Bill, but I think
I would have gone with Django Unchained, but that's just me.
Like you could never, but I just think you can't go wrong with any of those neo-Westerns that Tarantino did. I think Kill Bill is fantastic. The Claim is a Western take on the Mayor of Casterbridge, my favorite novel. Oh, okay, yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, so it's not as well known, but I think that's fantastic. I
like how unique this list is. This is a very unique list. I like it a lot. You didn't go with the obvious choices. I think that's highly respectable.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for the list. I mean, Monique was also the first one to send us her picks, which is, we always appreciate that. It's definitely something I can work with for the show.
Movie Spud in the chat. He's still in the chat.
Yeah, Movie Spud. Okay. Yeah, Kill Bill is great. I think if we did like a Mount Rushmore of Tarantino movies, probably Kill Bill and Django would both be on there. Yeah, I mean, anyway, that's just besides the point. Movie Spud, you got your Mount Rushmore. Hey D Ross, hey Marco.
Great list.
This is great. Unforgiven. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. I haven't seen that, but again, you got Jimmy Stewart in there. You got John Wayne in there.
It. It's very slow, but it's very good.
I mean, and of course, John, you mentioned The Searchers earlier. There you go. There's The Searchers. So The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, of course, making another appearance. You got Clint Eastwood and John Wayne. basically spread out across your 4 picks. I mean, this is great. If I was to tell anybody like go watch, the Mount Rushmore of Western movies, all 4 of these are worthy. Yeah, like this is it. And by the way, Enterprising and M2G sent us their picks, so we'll get to that later. But don't you worry, we will definitely get to that. Figure drawing, you got your Mount Rushmore. These are good. These are really good. Okay, so figure drawing.
El Topo. That's a good one. Another fucking great list. Although I don't know about Cowboy Bebop. I'm not really an anime guy, but I respect it.
Mm-hmm. And that's
I consider putting Magnificent
of...
7 on there, but only so much. I will say I like the remake. I have not seen the original. I've seen the remake, and I thought the remake was quite good.
Yeah. Oh man, the Dances with Wolves didn't end up on any of these lists. God, there's like so many of these. It's hard to make a top 4 of westerns. Like, damn, yeah, the Dances with Wolves. Magnificent 7 is also a movie that's been remade like twice since this one came out in 1960.
I mean, Seven Samurai was the original.
Right.
And then, then you had Magnificent 7. You had, and then
Didn't
2
Tarantino
sequels
make
to
it?
that. And show. There was a show that had Magnificent 7.
Yep.
And then
Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson.
And then you had remade it with
Robert
Chris
Vaughn.
Pratt, everybody Twitter's favorite actor, and Denzel Washington.
And dude, Unforgiven is a triple threat. It's been in like 5 out of the 6 lists today. And by the way, Figure Drawing didn't put Unforgiven. He just put Clint Eastwood. So I just figured I'd put Clint Eastwood in that spot. So basically, he was just saying Clint Eastwood because he's like the Google of internet. No, he's like the Western movies is Clint Eastwood, to searching online is Google. Like you're like Western movies are synonymous with Clint Eastwood's name. So
yeah, I've heard El Topo is very good.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. Yeah, of course it's surreal. It's fucking Jodorowsky. Like, come on now.
I'm really, I'm really kind of blown away that I did not think of Dances with Wolves like when I was working on my. But like it just goes to show you again, westerns as a genre has, that's amazing. Yeah, Unforgiven. Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, any Clint Eastwood movie, right? You said Clint Eastwood. Unforgiven is obviously one of them. He did, all the other ones that he has done, like I said, across decades.
I have heard The Shootist is also very good.
Yeah,
because that was like John Wayne's like swan. I don't know if that was his last Western, but that was like essentially what Unforgiven was for Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
That was his swan song to the genre. That was like his last hurrah kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, with that, before we move on, I just wanted to kind of pick up. Enterprising sent some picks earlier. He said Tombstone, True Grit, Shane, the original Magnificent 7, which I think we're talking about here. The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, OG 310 to Yuma, which, I mean, there's more than 4 movies there, but I think those are all fantastic picks. True Grit is one that we haven't talked about. I think you might. Do you mean the new one or the original one, the one with Jeff Bridges, or the OG one? Definitely clarify for us there. Let's see. Then I think MTG shared their picks: Django Unchained, Logan, City Slickers, and then the 310 Yuma from 2007. Those are all great neo westerns in a lot of ways. Yeah, I think those work really, really well. We could do neo westerns as its own like Mount Rushmore Monday.
I would say do neo westerns because that could be.
That's what I mean. Like neo westerns could be its own
neo
thing.
Westerns, yeah.
Yeah, or like even if we did like spaghetti westerns. Although I think more people will be able to relate to the neo westerns.
Ooh, in honor of Spider Noir. Film noir.
Hey, okay, that could be Chinatown. Can I definitely put that in there? You know what? That's gonna go on the list. Sin City, definitely could put that in there. I'm just like, there's definitely like been a lot of good noir stuff in recent years. I feel like I'm forgetting some obvious ones to think about that. Okay, so Enterprising met the new one, the new 3. Okay, got it. The new True Grit, the one with Jeff Bridges. Got it. Hey, Manos Time is here. Hello, nice to see you, man. Hit the like button while you're here. We've been going strong. But yeah, that brings us to the end of the Mount Rushmore Monday segment for today, John. So that's that. Western films. It won out finally. Time travel movies actually came in second, so that will be back on the list for next week. And then we'll throw in probably, like you guys were saying, film noir. If you guys have any other ideas for Mount Rushmore Monday topics, let us know. The way we're doing it, the whole process, we will put up the poll on the Thursday. Then we will pick pick the the winning topic on Sunday and put up a post on the channel. So again, kind of like if you go to the youtube.com/curious, or you click through in the app, there's a post section. In there you will find, or even if you go to the community section, both of them you will see the post asking for your Mount Rushmore picks for that particular week's topic. And so like Monique, Figure Drawing, and Movie Spot send us theirs this week. You guys can send us yours starting this Sunday. Of course, the poll will go up and you can pick the topic starting Thursday, and then Sunday we'll put up the the post asking for your picks, and then we'll bring those picks into next week's show. We'll see if Liz is able to join us live and talk through her picks. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. This was about the third time you've done this. This is starting to become a good tradition, so good for Monday shows. But John, with that, I think we're definitely finally getting on to the quick hits. So let's do the quick hits. We got a few of them.
Guys, we're getting a threequel, baby. Let's go.
Yes.
Are we there
20
yet?
years
Are they
later.
gone yet?
Are they gone yet?
Because 20-year sequel. Because apparently that's the thing to do now.
Dude, you know what blew my mind is that the last Are We, well, it was called Are We Done Yet, was 20 fucking years old. I felt old.
I remember I watched I remember vaguely watching Are We There Yet? I think I liked Are We Done Yet more than Are We There Yet? I thought Are We Done Yet was funnier to me.
I prefer the original. I still feel like Are We There Yet is the best. I just do. But me and my brother were
you
like,
want to know why?
Like, we grew up on
I think I know
this.
why. Even as a kid, I recognized this even without seeing the show. Dr. Cox is in it. That's why.
Okay.
I mean, come on. Dan McKinley, I think his name. Oh God, John McKinley.
John McKinley.
Mm-hmm. Great actor.
No, he's great. No, he just he was a little annoying to me the first few times, but I grew to love his character. That's probably why I still like the original one. I also like the road trip idea of the original movie, and they made a TV show with Terry Crews on TBS that ran for like 3 seasons.
It would be
that
funny.
Are We There Yet?
It would be funny as hell. Like they wouldn't do it because it's not his actual kid, but it would be funny if they got the son to be played by O'Shea Jackson Jr., even though it's not actually Ice
the same
Cube's
actor,
son.
right? Yeah.
No, because like the son.
Well, no, people
his
confuse
son, it was
him
his
all the time.
girlfriend's son.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think that would still be funny.
It would be very meta. If you go down, actually, Ice Cube had a little statement. I would love to read that. I think again because basically the franchise. I think it was with Disney or 20th Century Fox, but now Skydance acquired it, so Skydance is gonna do this under Skydance Sports. You wanna say this in Ice Cube's voice, because I feel like that's probably
It'll be racist. I can't do it. I'll be like accused of like vocal blackface or something. I don't want to go there.
We built something special with this franchise. Audiences grew up with Nick Parsons, and now Nick's got grandkids. Time flies. Partnering with Skydance to bring this story to a new generation is exactly the kind of move Cube Vision, wow, was built for,
that like
and I'm
Infinity
excited
Vision?
for the new partnership. Yeah, Cube Vision. Is that the same banner that he produced War of the Worlds under? But anyway, dude, I can't wait for this. Like, Are We Done Yet? I am so here for this. I am so here for this. This was like my childhood coming back, like growing up. National Treasure, Night at the Museum, Are We There Yet? I'm like, I mean, they just announced 24 Jump Street. I'm just living right now, bro. Like that's where it's at.
Anyway, let's get through this a little bit quicker now. Lily James is starring in horror thriller Seasons for Amazon MGM Studios, and apparently Drew Hancock is directing the feature, which began as a short story on Reddit.
Hey, you see?
They're already getting through it quick. They're already learning
the revolution
lessons from back rooms.
Will be televised. So, the revolution will be televised, John. The Reddit movie revolution, the YouTube movie revolution, or I guess in this will be streamed, maybe. I don't know. Cool.
But anyway, so apparently somebody did this like kind of statue on on this Canadian like cruise ship, like a city tour ship.
Like a ferry?
Yeah.
In Harbor
and it looks cool.
Nice. Yeah, Supergirl in crypto. It looks really cute. I like it. You like it, Georgie? I don't know if she likes it. It's nice. I like it. Get the Canadians in on the Supergirl action.
Yep.
Go see the movie.
If Tony were here, he'd be championing this, but unfortunately,
He would
had to
be.
eat. But Screen X, Supergirl, much like the one we saw for Brand New Day the other day.
You gotta
Looking-
turn your head
looking
sideways,
good.
Sean. It looks like they did do a whole conversion, so they actually shot it for Screen X. Dude,
I'd love to
forget
go to one
Infinity
of these
Vision.
things, but it's not, I don't think there's one near me.
But like that looks like it's again they actually shot it for ScreenX because you get like actual extensions of the image. It's not just like a reflection or some weird shit like that. That looks impressive to me. I'm like, you know what? I'm in. This might be like better than anything Infinity Vision's gonna be. Like if you don't want to go to IMAX or Dolby Atmos, then go check this out or Dolby Cinema. ScreenX looks. It's got to be immersive if you actually shoot it for that, you know, and then you have two projectors just projecting onto the side screen, not to mention the center projector. So, yeah, cool, good stuff.
But apparently Netflix, A24, and Focus pass on Luca Guadagnino's Artificial as movie circles. They did, I believe they were the ones that behind The Substance. So they could definitely...
We're getting to that soon. Manos Time's got some thoughts on Supergirl. But done. This was the movie Artificial. It was about like OpenAI that Amazon Prime dropped, and then they were looking to, you know, have somebody else pick it up. Netflix passed on it, Focus passed on it, and A24 passed on it. I don't know about Focus and Netflix. I can probably speculate why they passed on it. I mean, good for a movie if they do get it, but I think we know why A24 passed on it, John, because OpenAI is an AI company. And Google also is an AI company, or spends a shit ton of money on AI, and they just invested $75 million in A24 to develop AI-powered filmmaking tools.
This is not great. This is now. Here's the thing: we don't know a ton of information about this. We don't know a ton of details, so I will keep an open mind. But this is still, I feel like, the beginning of the end for A24 if they decide to go ahead with this, because literally A24 is like one of those studios that a lot of Gen Z kids know, and Gen Z fucking hates AI. So, and the fact that literally your biggest hit now was a guy who's vehemently against AI, so this just feels like a weird move to do. So it's just, this just feels weird. But I'm not gonna say like, oh fuck A20. I'm gonna wait it out. I don't want to like totally jump on the hate bandwagon, just blow my load immediately and blah blah blah, all that stuff. I'm gonna wait. I want more information, but it looks like it's not good. And with that, looks like Neon is gonna be really happy about this, because now we're gonna be the #1 indie studio while A24 shoots themselves in the foot.
Well, there's still a gap in terms of like the scale of Neon. Like A24 is still a lot bigger, but like we'll see. I mean, look, AI-based filmmaking tools could just mean like, oh, they got a new upgrade on their version of Photoshop, but whatever. We'll see like what it turns into. But yeah, maybe that's why they passed on Artificial, because they just got a big AI investment from Google. So, yeah, let's keep going.
But moviegoers love their local indie theaters, with new survey showing a boom in younger audiences. Great to see.
Yeah, there's like a 9% surge, I think, and the majority of those people are younger audiences. Not just going to the big ones, but also the local stuff in your town, which is great.
Yeah.
Again, that's why you need to be.
I do have an indie theater in my town, but I think it got like bought out or something, and it's not the same. So
yeah,
what are you gonna do? But Keanu Reeves eyes a reunion with Toy Story 4 director Josh Cooley on live-action Lego hybrid movie at Universal. Hopefully it's better than that fucking, what was it Bruno Mars or...
No, Pharrell Williams
did that kind of,
that
thing.
shit like hit the ground and never got up. Like it totally shit the bed. Sucks, but you know what? It is what it is. Look, maybe Keanu Reeves will have a better effect on this. You know what? I'm looking forward to it. I want to see another Lego movie, but the hybrid part bothers me. So we'll see how this works.
I mean, technically, the first Lego movie was hybrid because it featured live-action actors. So
yeah, but like it was like a barely in there, Yeah, the Pharrell Williams Lego biopic. We remember that. Yeah.
Warner Brothers snaps up erotic thriller short story Exposure from Erica Vasquez and Sienna Butterfield. Scribes will adapt for film with Barbara and Andy Muschietti producing.
Go off, King. It's the Muschiettis. They're at it again.
Cool.
But hey, Exposure. Spicy. Let's keep going.
But next up, Madonna on falling out with Universal Pictures over biopic. I've had a huge life, so I needed a big budget. Sure, you did.
So basically, they weren't willing to give her the money to make the movie as big as she wanted. Well, boohoo. Maybe you can pay up yourself. Pay out of your own pocket, you know? Wouldn't be the first one. Kevin Costner did it. Didn't work out for him. What am I forgetting? Right, a Megalopolis. That didn't work out. But then again, every once in a while, you know, if you bet on yourself, things could work. It's your life. Use it when you need it. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Let's keep going, John.
But yeah. Next up, 1-2 box office. Disney Plus subscribers drive Disney UK revenue to $5.8 billion in 2025.
Hey, Disney doing really well in the UK and Ireland. Good to see that. 1 and 2 box office makes sense. I mean, again, Disney's one of their biggest markets is the UK. We just talked about how even was it Obsession is doing fantastic in the UK. Yeah, it's good to see, and they will do amazingly well this year as well. Aren't they also opening a new like park in the UK, or they're working on one? There's gonna be a new like Disneyland or something in the UK, or was that Universal? I don't know. I've heard about that. Anyway, let's keep going.
Anyway. Is AI Hollywood's new cosmetic surgery? Studios are keep using the tech to tweak their movies, but keeping hush about how. Okay.
So, you know how a lot of movies use AI now in like small, like what was that? The Brutalist.
Yeah.
It had AI enhanced dialogue when the actors were speaking, and was it Polish? I think it was, or Ukrainian. Because, you know, the actors had actually learned their stuff, but kind of perfect the nuances of the dialect and accent they used in AI service to enhance the dialogue in that language. And then we have seen other movies, like even like some of the they used to call it deepfake, but deepfake is still kind of like AI because you're training a model that then kind of generates something for you. They did that with like some of the Star Wars stuff recently when they have to like bring back Luke Skywalker and stuff. Also, here's something, you know, in Sinners, when they had the two twins in the same shots, especially the scene when they're fighting each other, and like one of them's got the other one in a headlock. If you watch the behind the scenes stuff, they show you that they trained like their AI on a shit ton of Michael B. Jordan like images and stuff on that data, so that in addition to doing just a traditional face replacement in those scenes when you have two Michael B. Jordans on screen at the same time, they also use some AI deepfake technology to further kind of dial it in. And then they use a mixture of what they get from that, and then like VFX tweaks, your more like quote unquote traditional tools with, you know, some, you know, limited AI use here and there. So even movies like Sinners have done this. But like, I think this article is generally talking about how like these tools are there and the studios are using them, but because of the stigma around AI, not just with the audience, but also with like a lot of labor like unions in Hollywood, they just don't want to advertise it. Like one of the studios that works on a lot of these movies mentioned that they only get credited in maybe like 1/5 of their works, even if they're big blockbusters. Like they mentioned there's one this year that they worked on a lot. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a Project Hail Mary or something where, you know, they didn't really get credited, which is fine. Like I get it, like the optics of it, but like you have to like eventually get to the point where you're willing to talk about it up front, because to a certain degree what AI today is, like in the VFX world, it does have some really good limited applications, like the Sinners example I gave. And, you know, quite frankly, like Photoshop has had AI based, you know, tools for years. They just didn't call them that. Nowadays, everything is like, you know, because generative AI is only one particular kind of AI. There's a lot of other, like, you know, anytime you do like spot healing and stuff in Photoshop, that's AI based. You do object removal and like After Effects, you motion track stuff like this. So there are like built-in, you know, computational tools that are basically what most people think of as AI. It's just but I get like the stigma around it. It's going to be interesting to see how this evolves over time. It just feels like right now it's in a weird limbo, because even when it's being used in a limited capacity, you talk about it in marketing, all of a sudden that becomes a headline, and the movie, might tank because of that. So, and obviously the union members who are working on the movie, they won't like it either. So we'll see. I mean, over time, hopefully this will evolve. But obviously within reason, because you don't want to, I mean, some people will lose their jobs, but also I think in some ways, AI is filling the gaps where people aren't doing the same job, because like, for example, the face replacement, like it's part of the process, but it's not the process yet. So we'll see. Anyway, I digress, John. Let's keep going.
There was this from Supergirl, so that's cool.
Dude, this looks like a third act clip when they're fighting Creme of the Yellow Hill and the whole, and you know what? It kind of shows that maybe like Lobo was like chained down or maybe coerced to be there with Supergirl. And then in the middle of these fight sequence, which we saw them film last year on set of the set photos, Lobo decides, oh, okay, I'm free of my chains and I'm just gonna like, bust out and be on my way. So yeah, Lobo just kind of, destroys whatever the ship is and kills all the folks, and then eventually goes flying off the edge of it. So looks like a alien helicarrier or something. But anyway, this feels like, again, they're giving us a lot of stuff from the latter parts of the movie. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. We'll see in a couple of days. But yeah, it feels like it's probably the latter half of the movie, because Supergirl is wearing her costume and everything. So yeah, looks interesting.
But yeah, Project Hail Mary cast and crew gift. So,
dude, this was epic. They got a great letter. They got some artwork, some behind the scenes photos and like a book from the movie. Also, they got a great record. By the way, there's a certificate of awesomeness. Did you miss that? Did you miss that? There's a certificate of awesomeness she got. I think it was signed by Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
And then you got the entire soundtrack of the movie on vinyl. Like, dude, if you worked on this movie, like that gift is pretty epic. I love that you walk away with all that stuff. It's not just like a hoodie, but they give you some really good collectible stuff. So,
hell yeah.
All right.
And then
we're getting to that soon.
Like Father, like Tunes. This was.
You know what I love about this the most? Like, Bugs Bunny is talking exactly in the Marlon Brando cadence.
Yeah, well, I mean, this was the baby was Bugs Bunny. This was supposed to be his dad, but yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, the Father Bunny like talks in like the whole Marlon Brando cadence. It's hilarious. You listen to it, it sounds as monotonous as Marlon Brando did in the movie.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Doom Dad. That's cool, I guess.
Avengers, Fantastic Four. Cool.
We love you, -3000.
Yeah.
And then Aurelian Chumani.
Aurelian Chumani. Vinicius Jr. That doesn't sound really bad, actually. The last name he has, he's like Lamine
Yamal.
Lamine Yamal. The last one is Aaron. That's the best one.
No, yeah. It's
Desiree
Aaron.
Dewey. Erling Haaland. He's like Haaland. Erling because he's got like 3 L. Kylian Mbappe. Belly. This is great. I love this.
Aaron.
Yeah, Mr. Garvey. Aaron Van Bissaka. He used to play for Man United. Aaron Van Bissaka. Now he's back on Crystal Palace. Oh, I just watched the Algeria-Jordan game. I watched Messi earlier break the record, and then Mbappe's hot on his heels with France. I'm watching. I know John isn't, but I'm watching it. But anyway, that's it for the quick hits. And on that lovely note, John, I think we should move on to what Hunter Iggy was just talking about, which of course is the part of the show where we get blessed, because it's time for your daily episode, your daily dose of DCU Daily.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
victory mine. Ask me how am I doing, I'm telling you really I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line, I just go do it, I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it, how am I moving? I'm moving like you wanna shine. Follow my lead, don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line, that's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka!
All right. As I finished that pizza roll I was working on. Hello, welcome on into another episode of DCU Daily. It's going to be fun. A lot of Supergirl stuff today because it is Supergirl week. We are here, finally. Supergirl week. Supergirl is here, depending on when you're watching this. You might have already seen Supergirl. You might be on your way to see Supergirl, but thank you for tuning in, especially if you're watching us live. So yes, more reactions for the movie have come out from today's screenings, including the world premiere and the press screening. We will talk about that. MTG is getting ready to go to Paraguay versus Australia this week. That sounds awesome. The World Cup is going well. Yeah, and France is doing quite well too. All right, and then we got Harold in the chat. Finally, DCU time. Yes, we are here. Yes, we will get into those social media reactions. Don't you guys worry. But yeah, we have some Superman stuff to get into as well, Man of Tomorrow. And of course, we also have to get into, there's some Clayface stuff. Like there were some test screenings that happened for Clayface. We will talk about that. And we got some Lobo stuff. Okay, Enterprising, don't worry. We'll get into it. I mean, I've been hearing good stuff, but I mean, obviously not everybody has loved Supergirl. So look, honestly, I didn't think this was going to be a movie that was going to blow people away. And they've been doing screenings. Like I think there was a press screening today, or multiple press screenings. There was definitely the big premiere we'll talk about in Brooklyn, the world premiere for the movie that even the Man of Tomorrow cast showed up for. And yeah, there's more screenings throughout the week. Early screenings, you got, screenings on Wednesday. I'm going to the one on Wednesday. John is as well. But yeah, don't worry. I think we'll be just fine. As we usually do, though, we will start off with the quick hits for the show. John stepped away for a moment, but the first thing I wanted to kind of mention quickly was, I think John is coming back. Actually, you know what? I want to see if there's where are these new Supergirl reactions? Supergirl premiere reactions, because I did pull up some earlier, but it looks like now that of course, like you guys said, now that the premiere just happened, there are even more reactions that have dropped in the last few hours time. So let's see. But before I get that far, John, yeah. Well, you know what John's up to. Yeah, you know what John's. I care less for the critics. I care if fans and normals like it. Yeah, well, that's the thing, because I think like I looked at some of the other reactions from over the weekend and stuff, and it does feel like most people are genuinely enjoying it. I've seen a lot of people say like this is not gonna like change your life, which is fine. Like I don't think that's going to be the case. Like I don't think this movie was ever meant to be life changing in that way. Giving it like the summer, big spot, I think it still is not the worst idea. It just depends on like how well it actually plays, because it could still be a decent sized hit for DC. I'm just not like 100% committed to that just yet. Oh, hey John. What are you excited to talk about?
I really wanted some. I'm excited to drink this chocolate milk. So, good stuff. But I'm excited to talk about Clayface. I think that's kind of exciting. We haven't heard it.
Well, I was just kind of vamping a little bit because we will get to the Supergirl reactions from today in a little bit. Man of Time saying it's always better to form your own opinions. There's always going to be movies that you will like and others don't. Yeah, exactly. Or like, trust the opinions of people that that your tastes align with, because they're generally going to give you a better barometer of how you will feel about the movie. Streamers University. That sounds interesting, and also now I'll look into that. MTG saying, agreed, Jalen, for critics, a movie that isn't groundbreaking sucks. We will see how the reception goes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes you get like these very polarizing opinions, but like not every movie needs to change your life. You know what I mean? That even sounds like hyperbole. But I mean, Clayface and Dynamic Duo also look very, very interesting. We'll talk about that. But John, we start off with the quick hits, the Paris Ducks and Pelicans of the DCU news. Of course, over the weekend. It was Father's Day. We hope that you guys, enjoyed that. You guys and gals all got a chance, if you have a father or father figure in your life, that you got to spend some time with them. And of course, throughout the years, we have seen, Superman on screen always portrayed with a, usually a great loving father figure, or usually two, depending on the version you're looking at. I mean, including last year's movie, your choices make you who you are. Like, it's like, I was like, oh God, I wasn't sure about the casting, but I'm like, now I'm 100% on board with what James Gunn was trying to do. But John, not only was it Superman celebrating Father's Day, also DC as a whole. Jorge Jimenez shared a bunch of comic book images from recent DC comics, and the theme of fatherhood runs deep in the comic book genre, even when it's Alfred and Batman, because that's the closest thing Bruce has to a father. Or like Superman and his son, or Bruce Wayne and his son, which we might get in the DCU. All good stuff there. Enterprising had to work that day. That's okay. But hey, you texted your dad. That's, that's important. Just reaching out to him. I called my dad. I couldn't go see him, but I did call him and talk to him, and so I'll go see him next weekend. All right, so Manos Time, one of his friends actually saw the movie today in France, so he was saying, if you guys are going to go watch the movie, Millie Alcock is great, and you want to follow more of her story in the DCU. That's honestly fantastic to hear, and that's what I've been hearing from a lot of people who have seen the movie, that, Millie Alcock is perfect casting, Lobo steals the show, so yeah, that looks exciting. Well, yeah, I mean, Dynamic Duo isn't canon to the DCU, but I think there's a reason why. We'll get to it later in the show. Is because of the way they're treating like the history of the characters, the two Robins.
I have a lot to say when we get there. So
yeah,
we'll wait for that. But
we'll keep the rant alert ready, John. All right.
So then we have Erica Durance. She celebrated her birthday, and she was born the same year Superman came out. So that's cool. June 21st, 2 days ago, 1978. So happy birthday. She still looks absolutely amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I mean, between Erica Durance and seeing Rachel Brosnahan on the red carpet today, we will get to that too. Don't you guys worry, but let's keep going.
And then Superman 2. Superman 2 celebrates 45 years of being in existence. So that's pretty damn cool.
Nice. Isn't that still considered like the best Superman movie by a lot of people? I feel like, or maybe like now the new Superman. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could see James Gunn very inspired by like a lot of the production design elements from that era of Superman. Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. John Cena saying
John
he
Cena
wants to
reunite with the 11th Street Kids. So hell yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I love those guys. Back together soon, please. John Cena wants to run it back. I'm not surprised. It's just, his character happens to be on a completely different planet than the rest of the 11th Street gang. So, I don't know, James Gunn. Find a way to reunite the 11th Street kids, please. Maybe Checkmate will find a way. If they do, they would first need to figure out where Chris is, right? Like that before they even try to get there somehow. Which doesn't only like... what's his face? Frank Grillo's character? I'm forgetting right now. Doesn't he only have the technology now? Rick Flag Sr. Isn't he the only one who can do that now with the portal time travel, like, interdimensional Stargate, whatever thing that he has? Anyway, let's move on.
Then from comic to film, Supergirl flying to theaters June 26th. Man, this modern lighting, woof. It's like you have this colorful comic book and then green.
But John, it's like it's kind of hard to literally translate that into the, I don't know. I think we'll be fine.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Like, it's colorful. Like, the colors are there, John. Like, it's okay.
But Gillespie praised Millie Alcock's dedication to Supergirl. She never missed a single morning training session during filming, and even performed a 4-page scene in a made-up language. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, look, Millie Alcock is a great actress, and this just goes to show you again that she was there literally every day, because it's not only like, again, she had to speak multiple different languages in the movie, some of them completely made up, but also she had to train a lot because you got to look the part and you're doing some of your own stunts. So you got to have great core strength. You need to have a good upper body strength. And obviously, it doesn't go light on your back or your legs. So it's a very physically demanding role, as most of these big movies are. Manos Time sharing more of the reaction from Supergirl, saying the film was good and fun and touching from what I heard. And even Krumholtz, who plays Krem of the Yellow Hill, was great in the Krypton scenes. But actually, no, he doesn't play. No, you're talking about Jor-El. Zor-El.
Sorry,
Zor-El.
fucking had a
Sorry,
mouthful
I'm missing
of milk.
my L's. Anyway, so you're talking about David Krumholtz, who plays Kara's Kryptonian father. He was great in the Krypton scenes, but yeah, could have been a better movie. Okay, all right. I mean, Mila Jovovich is getting consistent praise, I should say. I'm messing up all of my words. Anyway, John, let's keep going. We got a lot of quick hits to get through here.
Yep.
Before we get to more
Stack Xtivist posted this kind of more body horror version,
which may not be that far off the mark, John. Once we get to the Clayface stuff later in the show, the descriptions of this movie are not that far off what you're looking at. Like, it's gonna be wild. I
really like this poster.
Wild.
I thought this was an official poster, but
I thought it was too. Apparently, it's really well made. It's really well made. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, Supergirl is a Craig Gillespie movie. That's what James Gunn has been saying.
Well, everyone was saying, "Oh, it's just fucking Guardians of the Galaxy," so it's just James Gunn fucking ghost directing. It's like, all right,
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, let's keep going.
Then we got the promotional newspaper for Supergirl featuring the early days of the girls, where she is just like, "What the fuck am I doing with my life? What the fuck am I doing with my life?"
She's saving cats from the gutter or something. There's another. If you go to the next link, they have like more of the article around it. So Supergirl apparently saves like something like a nuclear power disaster or something, and then like
Superman does, and then Supergirl does the
no, that's what I'm saying. Superman's kind of saves something from like a nuclear meltdown, and then Supergirl's like saving cats out of a tree or like from a sewer or something. And so they're just trying to showcase again, like, this is, and also ponytail Supergirl, like, that was an era, like, because the thing is, you got to remember in the flashback scene when she arrives on Earth, they talked about that she was what, like 16 or like 18, something, like she was a teenager, right? Or like, I think James Gunn mentioned she's like 18 or something. And then in the movie, she's celebrating her 23rd birthday. So between that and like, being part of the Justice Gang in some way, or being involved with that, like with the Peacemaker cameo she made, like Supergirl makes in the retcon version of the season 1 finale, it looks like she's been on Earth for a little while, and obviously, she's still trying to figure out who she is. So the movie is gonna explore that part of her journey, but other than that, it's pretty cool. So anyway, we'll get to that later. Let's keep going, John. Let's keep going. Oh yeah. This is probably how Supergirl rescued those cats. That's there you go. Rescuing cats from sewers. Clearly inspired by real life events, John, because apparently cats figure out ways to find themselves in the oddest of places. John's not a cat person. Let's keep going.
I mean, I don't mind cats. It's just, I don't think that's much of a thing. Anyway, Batman.
That would make sense. Enterprising the timeline would add up. Yeah.
This is giving like Arkham Asylum vibes. Like, this is like the records of like the deep within the bowels of Arkham Asylum. So I'm definitely
so basically the production designer of the Batman Part 2, Luke Hull, remember he posted the stuff like this when they were doing Penguin or like we have seen him post stills on his Instagram account that feel like they're almost like he's like working on a mood board for his next project. So him looking this stuff up for like the Batman Part 2, people are like, ooh, we're gonna get a lot more Arkham Asylum stuff. So yeah, this would be exciting if they do go this, because I think a lot of people wanted to see more of Arkham than we got in the first movie, and especially without the Joker scene that they later on released. So it'll be interesting to see how much more time, because that would be a natural escalation of what was going on in the last movie, especially because he put away so many of those guys in there. So yeah, exciting stuff for the Batman Part 2. But that's not the only Batman thing on Quick Hits today, John.
Mm-hmm.
Or Batman adjacent thing. Dynamic Duo We gotta, and then we'll get to the Manos time question later. We got that question. Don't you worry, Manos. But John, this is something you were excited to talk about. We got some story details about Dynamic Duo at Annecy this year, which just started today. And we now know a little bit more what Dynamic Duo is going to be like, the characters that will be a part of it, and the direction they'll be taking.
Yeah. So it apparently follows Jason and Dick as a duo of street rats who name themselves the Dynamic Duo. The duo split up as Dick ends up joining Batman, while Jason joins the Red Hood gang. And honestly, I kind of like that. Like, I like how they're kind of... I think it's a little, like, cheesy that they call themselves the Dynamic Duo. But I like how it's, like, kind of like that coming-of-age story where you're, like, separated by life, and then you go down completely separate paths of, like...
Yeah.
Dick going down the path of light, Jason going down the path of darkness. And, I like how with Dick Grayson, it's like, oh, Jason, this is what you could have been, like a better version of yourself, or Dick looking at Jason being like, oh, this is what you could have been, like a major dark foil for yourself. So I really, if this is true, I really like that. I think that's a really good way of like staying true to like the spine of like what the canon is, but like doing something different. I like that.
I mean, it's definitely like different than obviously in the comics, because they're like one comes after the other in terms of who becomes Robin, and then transitions out of it. So this definitely kind of changes up. This probably also, like I was saying earlier, is the reason why Dynamic Duo was not canon to the DCU, because they're probably going to go a different way with that in the DCU in terms of like where Jason Todd and Dick Grayson will end up. So yeah, it's good. It's good to see, again, they're trying new things, and honestly, just the animation style of this alone has got me excited. But the story also sounds pretty interesting now. So yeah, well, hopefully we'll get more details as Annecy week goes on. But then, yeah, I mean, the execution is the key, always going to be the key. I don't even think Marvel's done anything like this in terms of theatrically released animated feature for, not being in the cinematic universe, but certainly being part of, like, I don't know, I guess like the Elseworlds aspect of DC Studios. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, let's keep going. More quick hits to come.
But next up,
remember last year, this was an ad promoting the Amazon early Prime screening for Superman. They've just submitted it to the Emmys for like an ad category, so it's for your consideration. If you guys enjoyed watching that Superman ad, then this could be up for an Emmy. So it might win Superman an Emmy, which sounds really exciting. Olivia Miller, hello Olivia. I don't know if we have seen you in the chat before, but thank you for joining in. Asking, do you think that we'll get a Wonder Woman animated series before the live action DC Cinematic Universe movie for Wonder Woman? Animated series, it's very possible. It's possible, but I can't tell you, like, because James Gunn has mentioned nothing about it, and I don't think Warner Brothers Animation has anything about a Wonder Woman animated series in the works. We know that Paradise Lost is an extreme development according to James Gunn, which is gonna be a live action prequel for HBO, and then of course the movie is being written by Ana Nogueira. So it would be fun to see that, but I don't imagine if they did do an animated Wonder Woman series that it would be part of the DCU. It would probably be more like My Adventures with Wonder Woman, rather than like, something that gets included in the larger cinematic universe. Yeah. Oh, I don't think Lobo's going to be rizzing Supergirl, but it will be interesting to see if he tries. Let's keep going, John. More quick hits to get into.
We got the Water Tower here, doing Superman and Lois, Superman, and Supergirl, so that's pretty cool.
It's good, pretty consistent that they've been marketing. I mean, 2021 for a TV show, and then of course for the two movies in the DCU. I'm guessing this will be the same thing next year, except for Man of Tomorrow. So nice.
I mean, to be fair,
Jason Momoa just being Jason Momoa.
Live action cinematically, because,
Well, we had Krypton. Nobody likes to talk about Krypton.
I will say, it wasn't that bad. They did a good job.
I liked it. I liked it. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, I don't think they really like to address that it exists in most situations. You know, like DC doesn't really, because it was like a little like bubble time when they were licensing stuff and like Sci-Fi Channel, which doesn't really exist anymore the way that it used to, licensed it for. And then remember, it was supposed to be part of like the Man of Steel mythos, like of DCEU, and then they completely changed the direction. And anyway, season 2 went in a whole new, you know, Elseworld kind of direction. Yeah, Lobo just being Lobo. Love to see it. Jason Momoa having the time of his life. Also, Olivia, I haven't started off on I have some of the Absolute comics. I haven't started on it yet. John, you read some of the Absolute comics,
I'm
right?
gonna read it eventually when I get through this fucking garbage Tom King comic, but you know.
Don't worry, Tom King will make an appearance on the show later.
Yeah,
Speaking of,
and then
let's
I will
keep going.
kill him.
Let's keep going on this show. We got more quick hits.
Couple more. Speaking of Jason Momoa, there he is. Perfection.
It's Lobo.
Lovely.
Yeah, he's an immortal. I mean, dude, like, didn't like Jason Momoa said literally the first day that he was on set, like there was a fireball up his ass because he was shooting this scene, and they're like telling him, Craig Gillespie was like, drive your space hog up, and then literally just, you know, park it, and then like say a line, and then they had a camera like pointed right at his face. We've seen that shot in the trailers, but yeah, they really threw him right into the fire. Also, this sequence, when you watch it and you see the makeup on him, like that shot right there doesn't look like it's from the actual movie. But like, dude, I don't think they just put makeup on him. They definitely did a lot more work. I even think they put like some kind of bodysuit on him because he looks pretty lean. Like, he looks even more yoked in the costume. Like, don't you think? I feel like he might have had a bodysuit on or some kind.
Maybe.
Unless he lost a few pounds since he was filming the movie. So it's not just face makeups, which you know, there's more to it than that. Which I thought was like, again.
Oh no, I'm reading Woman of Tomorrow right now. I'm 2 issues in and it sucks ass. So you know, it's boring as fuck. There was like 2 cool moments, but like for the most part, it's boring as hell. But you know, it's not boring as hell. Our boy Jimmy, a different iteration of Jimmy, being the absolute fucking Rizzler. And I gotta say, like, honestly, if we're comparing Giganta to Supergirl, yeah, I'm going in on the villain, baby. Giganta all the way, like 110%. Like, yeah,
you know what they say:
Giganta.
thick ties save lives. I'm sure Jimmy would not mind. So
I mean, Jimmy.
Damn, Jimmy passed the controller.
Damn, if you ain't gonna play, Jimmy, pass the fucking controller. Like, fine, go with that fucking blonde bitch. Leave goodness for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Good. You know, good. Fine, go with Giganta, because, you know, way better. Way fucking better. And it's not close. Not close at all.
But I don't know if Emilia Clarke as Power Girl would work, but
no, she doesn't have the range, and she's way too tiny. She's way too small for Power Girl.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, Emilia.
No.
Anyway.
That's not cake. That's the whole fucking bakery. Okay? Let's just get that perfectly clear. That's not just the cake. That's the cupcake. That's the breads. That's the pies. That's everything, bro.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait for Giganta in the DCU if they do introduce that character eventually.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, you know, Skylar Gisondo plays like John said, a slightly different version of the character.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I love Skylar Gisondo.
Yeah. Donuts, they were frying shit. Yep. All right, John, let's move on from the quick hits. We got to talk about, actually, you know what? We got to talk about what did Gunn say? How do we end up in what just happened here? There we go. Let's talk about what did Gunn say, John.
Wishing his late father a very happy Father's Day, because he recently passed away, I think, a couple of years ago. I mean, the whole basis of, like, Superman was that he wanted to release it. I think it was, like, on his father's birthday, I think it was. So, Yeah, I think.
I mean, his father also like kind of introduced him to Superman, or like that. He kind of credits him for his love of Superman. Which, James Gunn Sr. Our best wishes go out to. Again, he raised
everyone's
a
parents,
family.
Grandparents had that wood paneling. Paneling was that was the 70s, bro.
It was
the epitome of the 70s was puke green, fucking brown ass orange, and wood paneling. That was the 70s.
It was, grounded colors, man. Just like,
and then like
chill,
the
dude.
80s was like neon and mauve.
Disco,
a lot of hairspray. Anyway, but James Gunn also saying Superman of Tomorrow is a Superman story fueled by hope, heroism, and pure spectacle.
Yeah, talking about Man of Tomorrow. Again, he called it a Superman story. That's the key that I heard. Like, Superman story fueled by hope, heroism, and pure spectacle. John, it's still not Superman 2, but it's a Superman story. So, James Gunn, again, kind of, slowly turning the ship in the direction that we all thought it was going to go. Because remember, like, originally he was like Superman Legacy and stuff and all that, and then eventually he was like, yeah, it's a Superman, like, it's like, James Gunn has this tendency, dude, like, he's done this before, where I'm like, it's not a Superman 2, but it's kind of a Superman 2, so, can't wait.
He said it's a quasi-sequel.
Whatever, James, whatever, like, loose definition you want to
whatever floats your boat. It's like whatever the fuck BVS was to Man of Steel, that's what this is.
That's what, exactly.
It's like it's kind of a sequel, but like at the same time, like kind of not, and then
it's that weird thing where, like, Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame definitely play a big role in the story of the characters of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's not a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, so like it's that. Which, fair point. Let's keep going.
Indeed. But Ana Naguero on her Wonder Woman script. I know how much these characters mean to everybody, and my goal is to always do right by these incredible iconic characters that I've all grown to love. And then, by the way, I just wanted a daily reminder. I saw this in the comments. By the way,
what does this have to do with anything here?
It doesn't have to do with anything. I just wanted to include it.
It's a weird place to put it, John. Anyway,
it was in the comment section of this post.
Okay,
so I was like, just your daily reminder.
Exactly, Smacky. But so right after Ana Naguero did that interview, which may be a coincidence because she talked about Wonder Woman and how she's approaching it, James Gunn, who's filming Man of Tomorrow still, the other day took this image from Tom Taylor and posted it on his stories, which again features Wonder Woman front and center alongside some of those other DC characters. John, this is epic. It looks fantastic.
Yes, Tom Taylor's. This is the preferable Tom. Okay, like this is the better Tom of DC.
But
comics.
Like the big thing on the internet was once James Gunn shared this image on his stories, like not that far apart in time from when that Ana Naguero script update surfaced, the interview that she did, talking about the Wonder Woman movie. The internet went into overdrive saying, "Oh, James Gunn is filming Man of Tomorrow. He just shared a Wonder Woman thing. Doesn't that mean that he is filming something with Wonder Woman in Man of Tomorrow?" I don't know, John. Is that like, I feel like that's a bit of a leap. But James Gunn also, do you think he would randomly share something like this? I mean, he did. This is like not an old post though, so maybe just follow.
Tom to be Taylor. Fair, James Gunn
really like this.
Has shared a lot of stuff. Over these past few years and whatnot. He loves to troll us. He's a very good troll. So, he likes to play with us. He likes to play with us, but not in the fun way. So,
cool. All right. Well, in that case, I guess we'll just have to wait and find out if Wonder Woman is or is not in Man of Tomorrow. But you know what, John? There were reports over the weekend about a test screening for Clayface. This is interesting. Definitely walk us through this because there's some really, really interesting quotes coming out of this. They did do a test screening. The movie, of course, currently sits about an hour and 50 minutes. Apparently, people really loved it. Cryptic 4K Koal said it's set to have some Joker and Manila Sky vibes, some Substance and the Incredible Hulk vibes. So that being sort of like your grounding in the initial reactions, John, later on, more reactions from this test screening surfaced, which again, take it with a grain of salt because we always talk about test screening reports more often than not are second, third party reports. So you know, your uncle's best friend's neighbor's brother saw the movie or works for Warner Brothers and saw a test screening.
I'm your father's brother's former roommate.
That being said, though, John, let's just presume for the moment that these are, you know, actual opinions from real test screening of Clayface. It sounds fascinating to me because Daniel Rickman later reported on this. What did he have to say?
So he said Clayface is insane. Features a scene with Matt having to cut his eyelids open with a pair of scissors on a plane going through turbulence. As you can see from the banner image above, that's the moment the trailers have already teased. So there he is. It's kind of reminiscent of that scene in The Matrix. This is also, and take it with a grain of salt, My Time to Shine recently said that the movie is very good and funnier than expected, very R-rated, very gory, has nudity too, no Batman, there are 0 cameos, surprises, or post-credit scene, so it feels a very standalone. So I would assume like nudity has something to do with the fact that like he's like melting and like clothes don't fit him anymore, so he just probably eventually decides not to wear any. So maybe we'll see some dingle dangle. That's going to be interesting.
Somebody was asking, do you think we're going to get like the monster version of Clayface in the movie? I'm like, wouldn't put it past them if that's where they went. But you know what? It's awesome. Good to hear that maybe they'll keep it pretty isolated. Like this is going to be standalone. We're not going to get a bunch of,
because you know, you got to get the horror fans that don't really care about like fucking DC crap. So, you know, like, all right, there we go. And honestly, I'm pumped for it.
Me
Hell
too.
Yeah,
this sounds, dude, I just read it and I was like, the gnarly level in my head just like spiked. I was like, shit, he's gonna pierce his eyeball. I don't think I've ever seen a superhero movie go that dark with like the body horror stuff. I mean, these are again early test screening reactions, so take them with a grain of salt because these may be way off the mark. They may be true, they may not be, but it certainly sounds very promising. So we'll wait and see how it turns out. I mean, I don't know how big this movie could be. I would imagine if it does anywhere close to Supergirl's box office, that would be more than enough for DC to justify the amount of money they're spending to make this thing. But speaking of Supergirl, John, the summer of Supergirl is here. It's Supergirl week. We're days away, if not hours away, depending on where you are when you're watching us, from being able to go see the movie. So let's definitely get into all the press, you know, reactions from the test screen. Well, not the test screening. There were press screenings. There was a premiere. It's finally time to talk about Supergirl. There was a press screening today. Let's start there, John. So
see you Monday. It's DC Film News.
And as we go through the rest of the show, we will definitely talk about some of the reactions that came out of the test screening. So we'll definitely get to that. But before we get that far, and I will get back to that, you know, comment from Manus Time I was talking about. Let's talk about, you know, some of the what happened at the premiere, John, because we have photos from the Supergirl premiere. And walk us through these photos because damn, everybody looked super dapper and super nice on the red carpet.
Yeah. Got Millie killing it, as always.
All black. Looks great.
James Gunn actually showed up. That's crazy.
Yep.
In between his non-sleep sessions, you know, coming to the premiere, just in a very, you know, as you said, dapper suit. I like it. Appreciate it.
I like it. He's very fashionable.
Honestly, this is reminding me of Clayface, kind of that brown color. So maybe he's teasing, Clayface is next after this. We got Millie and Craig Gillespie. We got your boy, your girl, and your other boy.
And that
the
dress,
real
that
kings
dress for days.
And queen of this universe.
And the aviators are out.
How is it that, like, goddamn Lex Luthor is looking sexier than Superman? Like, come on, man.
I mean, come on. Like, Clark looks, David Cornswell looks perfectly dapper.
It looks like him and James Gunn are wearing the same suit, but 2 different colors.
You know what? That's actually probably true because they're literally the three. But yeah, one of them is this brown, the other one's like a khaki or like gray, light grayish color. You're probably not wrong. That actually does look like the same suit in two
And then
different
David
colors.
Zaslav is just disassociating, like,
You
this
know,
movie's probably not gonna
T-shirt
get
with
me.
a
He's like,
suit
this shit's
jacket
not gonna
and
get me money, so I'm
jeans.
just gonna like,
Yeah.
disassociate. Just gotta see about how much money I'm gonna be getting from this deal about how David
Hey,
Ellison is gonna ruin this company.
by the way, Peter Safran looking dapper, black and white suit and tie, looks great.
Honestly, for a second, it looks like Nicholas Hoult is like in the ending of Infinity War because like the splattering of paint kind of looks like the dusting at the end of Infinity War. Like he's
Oh
like
yeah.
he
Yep.
looks like he's
Yep.
kind of
He's getting like whisked away. What was it? Like dusted
Superman. I
or
don't feel so good.
Mr. Clark, I don't feel so good.
I didn't hear about this, but like, you know,
Yeah,
fucking
we'll talk. We have
David
photos
being a
from that video,
gentleman.
Manos. We have photos from it, but yeah, I mean, it's like, dude, some journalists or social media like they just don't have personal boundaries, and you could tell, like, you know, Millie Alcock is again the most Gen Z of everybody on the red carpet.
She gives
so,
no fucks.
yeah,
Eve Ridley is
really,
looking
Eve
wonderful
Ridley,
as always.
beautiful red
I love the
dress.
red dress.
Yeah,
She's wearing.
beautiful red.
I mean,
dress.
I'm real. Because that's like kind of the thing. You're not really hearing a lot about Ruthie, so I'm very curious how she's gonna handle it. You know, younger actress. I think I've seen her in like one movie because I remember when she was cast. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw her in this thing. And I think she was good in that. So I'm really curious how she's gonna handle it because like a big part of the comic, from what little I've read of it, is that relationship between the two of them. Like, there's a really like kind of like weirdly touching scene where it's like, um, Supergirl is showing Ruthie how to wash her hands because Ruthie obviously, you know, she's never like gone past her farm and, you know, different alien culture and all that stuff. So it's like it's kind of like, you know, that's like one of the few scenes where of like that actually works. I'm like, oh, okay, this you have this like touching relationship and all that. So I do hope you like they kind of like do something like that, and I hope like Eve Ridley can, you know, showcase that properly.
I mean, and
And then
also like I feel like I hope her character is around for more than just this movie. You know, like I hope that they're gonna fit her into other stories. Everybody looking very damp, everybody looking at this photo looking damp, or feeling damp, because I mean, damn, that low cut dress on Rachel Brosnahan. You know, Jalen was smitten earlier. I'm sure he still is. But the whole DCU fam showed up. I love the leather jacket. Like, dude, Nicholas Hoult just looking like a cool dude. Like, you know, he's embracing the bald look. David Cornsweet, though, his hair looks a little shortened up or maybe that's just because it's slicked down. Because he's got a bit of a little mohawk thing. Not mohawk, what do they call it? Like a mullet thing going in the fight sequences we were looking at the other day in Atlanta. So yeah, lots of different stuff. Let's keep going though. Is that it? Oh yeah, there you go. You got Millie Alcock, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult.
I will say the Aviators definitely bring up the coolness for.
Oh yeah, I'm like, you should have kept those on. Like, come on now, it just completes the look. There you go.
Yeah.
You got the super family.
You know, now cut down
Lex
a
Luthor,
bit.
And then
Millie killing it.
Yep. God, Rachel
this is
Brosnahan's
cute.
stylist needs a raise. But yeah. I mean, yeah, I was a little surprised that Rachel Brosnahan is taller, but maybe she was wearing a particular kind of heels. I don't know. Again, height does not matter as much, like in cinema. Like, you can fake that shit. Like, it's fine. And it's great to see, because I was really surprised to see that they all kind of came out for this, because it's not like it's on a Saturday or Sunday. So clearly they were like, we're not going to be shooting today. Or maybe they're like in between a location move. So like they're done filming in Atlanta for now. So kind of, again, moving, you know, there's a bit of a gap, so they're able to do this, because obviously James Gunn and the rest of the cast would otherwise not be able to, you know, come by for something like this, because this was in Brooklyn and they were filming in Atlanta last we checked. So it's not so easy to just kind of like, it's not like they're going right next door or across the city. But yeah, I mean, Rachel Brosnahan's looks on these red carpets. I mean, the whole team. I like the beret thing that Craig Gillespie's got going throughout this whole tour. Like, love the look he's got going. And you know, when they were in London, where they shot a lot of the movie before, great stuff. Where is Jason Momoa? That's a good question. Maybe he's filming something
maybe
else.
He was,
because he was in London, so like he was at that premiere, right? I don't know. Maybe he was like it's they don't all have to be there. And I think Jason Momoa, has been at so many of these other events. He was at the LA screenings. He was in London. He's shown up to a few other ones as well across other parts of the world. So I wouldn't be surprised. He's a busy man. Like he's probably working on other projects. So I don't think honestly you missed him all that much. Like him and pretty much the rest of the movie's cast were there in London, and then I think Millie Alcock and Eve Ridley were the only two cast members alongside Craig Gillespie, the director, that showed up to the actual premiere. The rest of the cast was there in London, and they weren't really here. So, I mean, the London premiere was pretty big as well. So, yeah, I mean, Millie Alcock doesn't necessarily smile for all the photos as much.
Good resting bitch face.
Yeah, good RBF. But they're still filming Mana tomorrow. I wanted to just quickly take a moment before we get to. We have the video from the Millie Alcock and David Cornsweet stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I wanted to kind of like answer that question Manos Time had earlier, since we are on these photos from the premiere today. Let me see if I can pull this up. Manos Time was asking, I have a question though, based on the reviews you guys are hearing, how much grace or blame are you giving to the writer, and are you afraid for Wonder Woman and Teen Titans? I mean, Jalen, for example, did give an answer saying, I would say give some grace and give Anna Nogueira some growing pain, as this is her first time with a big movie, but don't hold back your issues or feedback. So I say grace, but be honest. So kind of along the same lines, like Anna Nogueira doesn't really have a ton of big writing credits before Supergirl, but obviously she impressed James Gunn and Peter Safran enough for them to put their faith in her. So I would say if you trust James Gunn and Peter Safran and what they're doing, then trust that Anna Nogueira did a good job here. I feel like for a long time now, I have had the feeling, again, this movie's not going to be as game-changing as Superman. Obviously, you look at the scope of the story, it is a bit more limited. Not like it's limited is a weird word to use, because they're like hopping between different planets and more of the cosmic side of the DCU, whereas Superman was very much Earth-based, outside of like the Pocket Universe stuff. So in that sense, the scope of the movie is grander and yet not as grand, because in terms of the implications on the larger DCU, Superman mattered more because it was like the first one out the gate. It introduced not only Superman but the whole world of the DCU, including Metropolis, Smallville, where the Fortress of Solitude is, as well as obviously a bunch of other superpowered metahumans. So whereas Supergirl feels more like a character heavy movie that focuses a lot more on Kara, it focuses on the relationship with Crypto, how she connects with Eve Ridley's, Ruthie, and then obviously the adventure she goes on. We know Lobo is going to be like in and out of the movie, but not really a big part of it. And Creme of the Yellow Hills, I don't think anybody thought Creme of the Yellow Hills was going to be like the next Joker. Like, I think some of the criticisms about like, oh yeah, the villain is bland. I'm like, so was for like 9 out of 10 Marvel movies for years, and even to this day still is. Like, it didn't matter, like, it doesn't, like, your villain does not have to be the strongest part of your movie for your movie to be successful. We have seen that happen, and vice versa, but like in this case it does feel like, I mean, Creme of the Yellow Hill clearly, unless she's being affected by kryptonite poisoning, he can't really match up with Supergirl. Like, we have seen some of the shots from the movie trailers, the clip we looked at earlier. Creme of the Yellow Hill can literally wipe the floor. Kara can literally wipe the floor with Creme of the Yellow Hill and his entire army because of the power differential there. So clearly the story is meant to be more of like a focus on her internal struggles with her own identity and where she is. She doesn't really feel like she belongs on Earth. She's not really embracing the whole idea of being Supergirl in the costume. You see that like being strewn around throughout the movie until towards the end, where she does put it on, so she finally embraces it, but she doesn't like let go of her own identity, which is like, Superman sees the best in everybody, I see them for who they really are. So I think that's the core of the movie. And so that generally, when it's a character focused movie, it's more internalized conflict than is externalized. That doesn't always play as well as a blockbuster where you're fighting a bunch of villains, fisticuffs. Even though she's going to do that, but it seems like the majority of the movie is more character focused. So I'm okay with that. Okay, yeah. So Harold saying Jason Momoa is currently filming the Minecraft sequel. That makes sense. Minecraft 2. So obviously, that's a bigger priority than, doing. I mean, he's done a lot of media for Supergirl already. So, and I'm sure he'll pop in here and there in the future as well. But I mean, he was not like a lead character in this movie. So, and then Minecraft 2 is also a Warner Brothers thing. So like it's all in the same house, So there we go. No, I don't. Look, here's the thing, Enterprising. I don't think the worst case scenario here is that we never get another Supergirl movie, because the fact that they're giving her this much of a platform, you gotta believe that they know that if this movie isn't like the runaway hit, that they need to be able to, they want to be able to roll the dice again. And honestly, if they put her on another big movie like Man of Tomorrow, or another movie where she's a bigger part of the film story, because I think her appearance in Man of Tomorrow is probably going to be a little bit of like a cameo, you can build from that too. Like if the character doesn't work out in a solo movie, you put him in another movie with another character, that movie does great, then you do another solo movie with Supergirl. I think that's another way to go about it. Like I think it's going to be more fluid with how the DCU kind of goes along. James Gunn's not so into the idea of, he said so himself, that we're not going to follow like the same rules necessary of Superman 1, 2, 3, which is why we're getting Man of Tomorrow, which all still ties together, and Supergirl. So I don't think we should look at the DCU and expect them to do a trilogy for each character. Like they might not do it for like years. Like even in the DCU, Man of Steel 2 never happened, but be that as it may. So yeah, I mean, look, we'll see how the fans take to the movie. I feel like some of the issues that the critics have had so far feel like fans might feel the same, like this movie. But like don't have expectations, or don't have the wrong set of expectations. Like don't go into this movie thinking it's going to change your life. It's not meant to. So I think on that level, as long as you're not going in there expecting that, you should be okay. Enterprising, I think it depends on what comics they choose to adapt for Wonder Woman and how she reacts to the criticism. Will she be given more notes? Will there be more pressure on her? Will another screenwriter come? Well, Wonder Woman is a bigger project than Supergirl, but the fact that they gave her the reins of that means that they trust her enough. So there's always a chance to bring in somebody else to help. There's always a chance to change things up. But as of right now, that's the priority. That's what she's working on. So I would say trust Anna Naguera, and whether this movie, delivers or does not. I don't think the worst case scenario is this movie is so bad Anna Naguera can never write a big studio picture again. And also there's the thing of like, you have a bad day at the office. Everybody at least gets one of them. So like Grace, I think, is an idea that like Jalen was saying, like you were saying, Man of Time, that we definitely should give for Anna Naguera. If she's already got an assignment for Wonder Woman and a Teen Titans script, it must mean James Gunn really loved what she did for Supergirl. Also, a script to screen can become two very different things, which is why he's got Christina Hodson working on the Batman movie. And you look at her previous efforts, you'd be like, oh no, because some of her scripts didn't really turn out to be great movies, but maybe the scripts were very promising. It's just, you never know. Like it's I can tell you from experience, a great script doesn't always translate into a great movie unless you have the right director for it. So let's just hope that Craig Gillespie is the right person for this, and then whoever they hire for Wonder Woman and Batman is the right person for those scripts. But yeah, let's keep going. The Supergirl show in Man of Tomorrow. Yeah, she has filmed. Millie Alcock has already filmed some stuff for Man of Tomorrow, and might film more stuff in the future. So we know that she's going to have a role in Man of Tomorrow. Probably not a big one, but we know that she will. Hunter Iggy saying, what are your thoughts on people, grifters, saying on the internet that if Supergirl flops, they hold everything and bring back Zack Snyder's Justice League? Those people are idiots, and that's not happening. And if Zack Snyder were to come back, it wouldn't be to replace whatever James Gunn and Peter Safran are doing with DC Studios. It would be in addition to that. And that, there's a very remote to zero chance of that happening. So those people are the loud minority and the smallest of minority. I wouldn't listen to them, Hunter Iggy. Supergirl flopping will not bring back the Snyder verse or whatever. Like that's no, just no. And you know what? Yeah, like I think Ana Naguera will do just fine. I mean, if there's mistakes made here that they can point to, then maybe she'll. Because again, you got to remember the writer, what she writes has gone through a lot of evolution to the point where the movie came out. So I don't think James Gunn is gonna like retroactively grade her screenwriting ability based on how well or not well Supergirl does with audiences and at the box office. That's just not, like I said, a script isn't like a novel, because a novel is very descriptive and then everything. You got to think about movie scripts are more like a blueprint. And a blueprint doesn't, spell everything out for you. It just gives you like the instructions to create the skeleton of the house, for example. But then what you fill up inside, how you decorate it, all of that stuff is up to the individual person, in that case, like the director. So if you think of that analogy, then I don't think like, so Ana Negreira writing the blueprint for a house, as long as it's a stable house, what the director does with the rest of it, in terms of decorating, painting the walls, blah, 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 you know, what the furniture is inside, you know, who lives in the house, that's all separate. And you can't judge the person who wrote the blueprint for the house for like somebody like who decorated the house, right? So that's why I don't think Ana Negreira is going to get looked at badly in hindsight if the movie doesn't do well, Supergirl, because she wrote the script. Because she wasn't the one who directed it. She just wrote the script. Like Matt Reeves is different because Matt Reeves has co-written the script and directing the movie. So he's responsible for more of that. He wrote the blueprint and he's deciding how to paint the walls and what people are going to live inside and what furniture is going to be in there. That's a different kind of story. So anyway, John, I finally digress. Since you have returned, let's kind of keep the ball rolling here. We got more Supergirl stuff to get to. So of course we just looked at all the premiere photos. They did have a live stream for the movie as well.
Yes, they did.
This is like a 2-hour thing almost. We're not going to go into that in too much. 1 hour. We're not going to go into it too much detail. They had some interviews on red carpet.
Puppies. Damn, there's puppies.
God, they had puppies. Of course they have puppies.
There he is.
So cute.
There he is.
It looks so cute. Oh man. Yeah, exactly, man. It's time. I mean, Craig. I mean, every director adds their own vision.
Yeah, they have their own
applies
touch.
that to the movie. Yeah, their own touch. Exactly.
This jacks up our views to like fucking like 1,000. Just having the dog right here. There he is.
So good. Yeah, exactly. It would take a whole string of flops for James Gunn to be, you know, in the hot seat, and I don't think that's 2 movies. You can't string together 2 movies into a string of flops, especially when one was already successful. But yeah, let's keep going, John. Did you have the video for where that incident happened with a journalist? And
I tried to like get through it, but I couldn't find it. So
I don't know if they actually had the footage here, but like apparently there was like a journalist who tried to like, I don't know, like physically reach out and like get a hold of Millie Alcock, and David Cornsweet stepped in and sort of was like, no, you don't do that, which is good to see and hear that, you know, he was there to protect his on-screen little cousin. I mean, look, this kind of thing has happened before, I'm sure, at red carpets. It just, you got to know your boundaries. Like, you're there to interview somebody, like just basic human decency. So and obviously Millie Alcock has done House of the Dragon, but this is still her biggest project of her career. And now that, you know, David Cornsweet this is not his first rodeo anymore. I think he's also just got more experience in general working on TV and movies. So him stepping in, and I think that's just, it's to be expected, and I'm glad that he did so. Apparently, John, this is the video. Let's see. It's somewhere in here. So you have multiple interviews from James Gunn and stuff.
I don't know. I tried to comb through it, but
yeah, it might not be this video. Well, if you guys have a you know, way for us to find the exact, I saw it on like Twitter earlier, but I don't know if I can find it on YouTube. But yeah, no, it's good that, you know, David Cornsweet kind of stepped in, and as he should. But, you know, like real life mirroring the movies. So, but John,
you
also
even have him in the background, fucking Sidney Happerston. So
yep,
good times.
Oh yeah, he's still involved in the DCU. I mean, there are some stills from the stream. So you got David Zaslav there. Is that Ana Negreira? And that's of course, you know, Rachel Brosnahan's dress. And then we keep going. There's your favorite writer in the whole world of comic book, Dumb John. Tom King was there talking right alongside Peter Safran and James Gunn. Love to see it. Yeah, we'll talk about the Fortnite stuff in a minute. Yeah, and then of course Jennifer Holland on the red carpet. You got again the super cousins. Oh yeah, Tom King definitely looks like Kevin Feige, except he doesn't wear the hats. There you go. There's the aviators looking snazzy. I want whatever David Cornsweet's having. And you got all the super fans. You got, Rachel giving David a hug. Yeah, dude, Nicholas Hoult, man, just like the most laid back. Like I'm just in my cool dude era. But hey, we also had Maria Gabriela de Faria at the premiere. The engineer was at the premiere, John, looking snazzy and dapper in her own right. Beautiful. All right, cool stuff. Okay, so now let's get to those press reactions, because from this screening, they did like a screening at the world premiere, and then also they did a number of other press screenings. We have the latest reactions from those people talking about the movie. Just to remember, the review embargo for the movie doesn't drop till Wednesday, so these are just social media reactions, but these are updated from the premiere tonight. So John, let's talk about a few of these, shall we?
So this person, I don't even know who this is. Supergirl IMAX works fine as summer superhero content, but not a standout. Alcock shines. Happy to see her be Kara again. Lame villain and main story drag. Space weirdness for the sake of space weird. Okay, what the fuck does that even mean? But Kryptonian backstory flashbacks were quite engaging. I can't read Spanish. I saw Supergirl. I liked it, didn't love it, but loved Millie Alcock's performance as Kara. She's perfect, and all of the Krypton Superman stuff is really good. It just felt a bit generic or predictable as a whole at times. Unfortunately, shockingly, okay, you don't fucking matter to me. Supergirl is an action-packed blockbuster that pulls no punches. Millie Alcock is genuine perfection. Jason Momoa is the Lobo we deserve. A somewhat conventional story and a forgettable villain, but a wildly entertaining experience. You'll have a blast. I think Supergirl was just fine. Alcock is a home run yin to Corin Sweat's yang. David Krumholtz shows up and delivers one of the best dialogue scenes in a comic book movie, and it's in a made-up language, but most other characters are kind of dull. Supergirl is adventurous fun and feels like a classic hero story. Millie Alcock gives Kara more value and heart, and Jason Momoa is a wild dream come true, a potent mix of Kill Bill and John Wick-esque action to round out this thrilling, slightly dark journey.
John Wick comparison before.
What? What did I say?
I heard the John Wick comparison before.
Oh, I thought you said. Yeah. I'm like, John. What did I do? What
No. They compared it to John Wick. I was like, I've heard that before.
Supergirl is a punk rock blast, feeling like a delightful cocktail of Road Warrior and Guardians of the Galaxy. Love how this one is so tonally dissimilar to Gunn's Superman, while still feeling like it's cut from the same universal cloth. We are of the same cloth. Guy Gardner. Alcock is a ferocious force here, making Kara a fractured, I would assume, character. But Craig Gillespie, Supergirl, is a great follow-up to Superman. It's got the underdog rock and roll attitude of Guardians of the Galaxy, mixed with the grimy ruthlessness of a Mad Max movie.
The Mad Max counter goes up again.
Concoction, but it works.
Yeah.
And then
that's like the fifth time you've heard
Mad
Max comparison.
Supergirl is a film I wish I'd had as a teenager who loved superhero movies. Millie Alcock is perfect, bringing humor, heart, and incredibly drunk acting. Really loved Craig Gillespie's vision of this world, Mad Max vibes.
Another Mad Max,
dude, is something all of its own.
That's like the 7th time somebody has compared it in these reactions. Hello, Angelica.
Hey, I'm not.
Same, don't agree with you, yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes it's not really about the villain. He's kind of more of a plot device.
That's what I mean. So it's like, this is like more about an internal struggle of Kara, because I'm like, it's not like Krem actually physically poses a threat. She can literally wipe the floor with this guy and all of his army like in 5 minutes. It's like, come on.
As a fan of the Woman of Tomorrow comic, I wanted to love Supergirl, but ended up thinking it was fine. More of a me problem because I can see general audience members really loving it. Yeah, if you like slop like Woman of Tomorrow, then yeah, of course you're not going to like actual good things.
Well, that's interesting.
Millie Alcock as Kara is brilliant. Jason Momoa as Lobo steals scenes, tons of heart and humor, and that's the last one. So
yeah,
nice.
I mean, apparently, well, Chuck Ross saying
to the Spanish reviews that I couldn't read, but I am not bilingual, so sorry.
Well, if you click into them, you can do the translation on Twitter. But Chuck Roth saying the villain was forgettable in the comics, so it's right on target. The story is also mostly about Supergirl. Yeah, exactly. And then Manos Time saying hot take based on the ending of this movie. I really hope Gunn teaches Craig how to do better needle drops, because if it's true, that's rough. Not knowing the ending, I can only guess what you're hinting at. But yeah, I mean, hey, look, it's not a perfect movie. I think that much we can let's in a moment, like maybe we could predict like what the Rotten Tomato scores would look like. I know one of you guys already did that before, like you gave us your predictions, but Eric saying successfully giving us different tones in a DCU, can't wait until Clayface drops. Exactly. MTG saying, hey guys, Astrophage was also a bland villain, it's all about the race against time. Exactly, that's actually a really good point. Astrophage was a plot device.
Glazing. Let's go.
Mine is not near me, but yeah, I would pull out my Rocky too. Oh, and Grace right there. There you go.
Yeah, sorry, Grace.
Yeah, I mean, you know what the
dusty. He's on the top shelf. That's why he gets a little dustier quicker.
It's okay. You know what? That's a good thing
right
that
here because he's big.
Jalen is pointing out something important. We haven't heard anybody like hate the movie. Even the worst of the reviews feel like the praise
like
parts
it's
of the film.
fine. So that's like mainly positive. It's just like I feel like the lowest I can see someone giving this movie is like a 2.5 out of 5.
I was saying that earlier, Angelica. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Hello.
I like the whole first 2 phases of Marvel had bland villains. Like I was mentioning that like
they had the
ago,
best movies, so go figure.
Right. It just like they made all the money in the world. I think mixed to positive over negative to just negative is exactly. That's the thing. If you're on a spectrum, you prefer that over the other. It's looking very 60-ish.
I would say like more like 65, maybe 68.
Smacky saying like 82%. Okay, Smacky saying 82%. Enterprising like 60-ish. Manos Time saying 75 to 80%.
I'm not inputting anybody's things, right? Because I don't care enough.
Well, we're saving them in the chat here in our platform. Look, if I had to predict where the critics would land on this, I would say somewhere in the 70s. Given how the reactions are, not everybody who's reacting to it is going to write a Rotten Tomatoes review either. And then as far as the audience goes, I feel like you're probably looking at something in the 80s. Remember, Spielberg's Disclosure Day just had a score in the 70s for the audiences, which I think was a big part of the reason why it's dropped off as much in the second weekend. So yeah, I don't expect it to be in the 60s. I think 70s is probably where it's at. Maybe even like 78. I think, Angelica, that's probably pretty close to it. If you're doing prices right, I'd probably pick 78. 84 for Chuck Rod, 84 or 80s for Jalen. Yeah, I mean, look, that's optimistic. I wouldn't mind seeing it in the 80s. I'm just saying, like, looking at general sentiment, and then everybody seems, a lot of them are pointing out to some of the same things in terms of what the weaknesses of the movie are. The one thing that does concern me, John, some of those reactions did talk about how the movie feels a lot like basically something we have seen before, very conventional in some ways, which does worry me because that immediately takes my mind back to 2023 DCEU, the last throes of the DCEU, with Blue Beetle being like a perfect example of a movie that if it came out 15-20 years ago, people would have loved it because it would have felt very groundbreaking. But it had too much of the genre conventions of a superhero origin story, especially with like a teenage character that we have seen before, especially in like Spider-Man movies and many other movies of the like, that it just felt like it wasn't doing anything new. It was like, same thing with like a different, set of clothes on top. Like we haven't met these characters before, but they're doing the same things you've seen before. So I just hope that Supergirl doesn't fall prey to that. But even if it does, as long as, again, you send the crowd home happy, it's got good action, and Millie Alcock does a great job with her character development stuff, like those in more character-based scenes. And then if Lobo obviously, makes you, gives you all the the moments that you're looking for. It's that thing of like, I think the DCU is in a good enough of a place right now that you could get away with something that's a little safer, like what Blue Beetle was. Whereas Blue Beetle obviously was coming out at a time where, people really didn't care for DC stuff, or like in general, it just felt like nobody wanted to go see those movies. So yeah, like fine movies in a stacked month. We've talked about it, man. It's like coming in between Toy Story 3 and Minions and Monsters, it's going to struggle. Like right now, the second weekend of Toy Story 5, I should say not 3, Toy Story 5 is expected to actually have a higher box office in the second weekend than Supergirl. So there's a very good chance that Supergirl may not even be the #1 movie coming out of this weekend. So that alone would get it off to a lesser start than what they would have wanted. But, ultimately you got to play the long game. And like I said, the audience and critics ratings, that matters more than the box office. But, like the box office matters, like you can't flop, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah. I just love the fact that everybody keeps comparing it to Mad Max. That sounds interesting. It's like 7 or 8
I
times
still
I've
said
seen people
George
do
Miller
that.
would have been a great fit for this, but
Yeah.
he doesn't really have a good relationship with the Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Blue Beetle did suffer from the Dead Cinematic Universe syndrome, which the DCU doesn't have that problem. So that we don't have to worry about. And you got to remember, there's always going to be some people online who will just bash the movie for the wrong reasons. So like, just remember to like, you know, be selective with who you're listening to, which opinions you believe in before you go to the movie. And then obviously when you go to the movie, make up your own mind. Don't just go off of what other people are saying. I mean, groundbreaking is a hard thing to do, but obviously, like, you know, it's like, you know, is anything original? Like, you eventually get to the point where you're just getting philosophical. So anyway, John, let's keep going. We got more marketing stuff. In fact, I think we talked about it earlier in the show. Does the movie have a post-credit scene? Because in all these early screenings, it doesn't look like it does. Like, according to the comicbookmovie.com, as of right now, there is no mid or post-credit scene attached to Supergirl. But like we said before, there is a chance that once you get to like the Wednesday, Thursday screenings, especially when it's in general wide release, that you might see that they will attach a scene. But like, I don't know, like it's hard to tell because there's only been one other DCU film. So I don't know if there's a pattern.
The thing is, as well as the fact that like James Gunn has said, I don't plan to do like future teases for DCU because you're going to put yourself in a box.
Right.
I mean, look at the one that's referenced right there is Harry Styles' Eternals cameo as Star Fox. Pretty sure Harry Styles ain't coming back to the MCU anytime fucking soon. Right. So, you know, it's...
Or like, you know, what was it? What was the Brett Goldstein character? He was going to play...
Hercules.
I don't think that's happening either.
Oi! Thor! Get over here! I need to kill your ass!
Oi! Get them out of here. Yeah, I'm still watching the last season of Ted Lasso because I'm getting ready for the new one. Season 4, baby. Oh, God, I can't wait. Can't wait. More Ted Lasso, please. Mad Max superhero movie. Groundbroken. There you go. Yeah, I don't think James Gunn wants to have these kind of post-credit scenes that kind of try to connect the cinematic universe together.
Because, like, he hated that for Guardians 2, where he promised Adam Warlock, and then he wrote himself into a corner where he kind of had to include Adam Warlock in Guardians 3.
Although, honestly, I don't think, like, Kevin Feige much cares, given where things have been recently. So, although they're trying to get back to it, though, with the Russo brothers filming all these post-credits. We'll see what the Spider-Man movie has.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just said that, so.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, we do have some box
it should have,
stuff.
you know, and I like how even James Gunn was like, a fuck you to Kevin Feige, how he was like, yeah, we had to let him out early because of insert reason here. And it's like, yeah, Kevin, I didn't want to fucking do the shit, but you had me do the shit. Eat a dick. Fuck you. So, you know.
Well, to be fair, James Gunn did, you know, re-sign a deal with Marvel to go back and work on the third movie. Like, he could have just stayed at DC. But anyway, we do have a box office update with regard to the opening weekend for Supergirl. So again, our friends at Global Box Office, Sean, if you zoom in a little bit, they were talking about the pre-sales for Supergirl, saying that they've stalled a little bit, but so far there is no sign that it could bomb, which is good. So there's no sign that the movie could bomb. And if you zoom in a little bit more, John, they do talk about the tracking currently for the movie sitting at $55 to $65 million for the opening weekend. There's an outside chance of 70 million. So they're saying if you're being really optimistic, it could open to 70 million, but it's generally they're looking at 55 to 65, which is respectable. And you know, that would involve great walk-ups, meaning like there's a lot more people who show up the day of or the weekend rather than buying advance tickets. But they did say there's, you know, a possibility of a less than $50 million opening if the reception to the movie, aka the Rotten Tomatoes stuff we've been talking about, once the review embargo lifts on Wednesday, more reactions come out, full reviews come out. If those aren't good, and if there isn't as much walk-up traffic in the movie theaters over the weekend, on the low end, you could go to as low as $50 million opening. So they're giving you a range because that's about the best we can do until the movie actually comes out. 55 to 65 is not bad. It could go beyond that and do 70, or it could go under it and go 50. It all depends on, again, how many people show up to the movie over the weekend, buy their tickets at the box office rather than booking them ahead of time. Because again, that's what the pre-sales haven't exactly like kept up pace with how this started out. Now, at this point, they are saying that, you know, if things get really, really bad, it could debut in the $40 million range in case the movie gets, really bad reviews like Joker Folia Do did, which I hope it doesn't. I don't think there's any indication here with the reactions that it will be like that. But, the review embargo will lift on Wednesday morning and we'll see. I think 40 million is probably a bit too low. John, where do you think it's going to land ultimately based on these numbers?
I'm going to say 57. I'll be nice.
Okay. I'm still hopeful. I think 65 is probably doable. I mean, we have seen plenty of movies over index recently, so it's very possible that it can go beyond 65. It's going to depend on the reviews. Like if this thing sits in the 60s for the Rotten Tomatoes score, that's going to put off quite a few people because there's a lot of average movie going audience members who are not really following stuff like what we do on the podcast and stuff. And all they're going to be doing is like, oh, what's the Rotten Tomatoes score? Oh, I heard that it wasn't really good, like 60%. Like, you know what? I think I'm going to skip it. Like there will be a lot of that. So that's why you want to hopefully see that it, has a much higher Rotten Tomatoes score because there's a reason why they lifted the social media embargo a whole week early. I think that's a good sign. Like Warner Brothers has probably been getting some good signs from the press saying, we're going to give this a good review. So that's why they let the social media embargo lift early, which it wouldn't have lifted originally even by the time of the premiere today. So that's something that's working in its favor. But hello, Patrick. How are you doing, man? Hopefully you hit the like button. Thank you for joining in live. We're almost done for the night. We're still getting through some more Supergirl stuff. But John, the social media marketing does not stop because as we get into this final stretch of Supergirl, let's quick cuts our way through a lot of the marketing, and then we got to talk a little bit about how the marketing for Supergirl has been record-breaking for Warner Brothers.
And speaking of records. Yeah. A good Saving the Galaxy deserves a good soundtrack. So
yes, it does.
New Supergirl character playlist just landed on Spotify. So
nice. These actually multiple playlists. These are character. So
Lobo. That a lot of metal. If I had a Spotify, I would go towards Lobo's because he definitely probably has the shit I'd like Slayer and Judas Priest.
I mean, didn't Jason Momoa already talk about like what songs he would be listening to?
Yeah.
Like I think there was like a whole thing about it. Yeah. Well, I mean, it is concerning a little bit that the review embargo doesn't lift right before the movie comes out. But social media embargo lifting early is still like, look, if
but the thing is, with the social media one,
it was still hurt.
That was supposed to release like tomorrow, and they did that like a week in advance. I think that's a good sign.
It is. Yeah, I mean, it's still worrisome that the review embargo isn't lifting till Wednesday. Basically, when we go see the movie, John, we'd be able to talk about it. But we're doing it on Wednesday. But like a lot of the press screenings, people can't put the reviews out until Wednesday. So they are pushing it all the way till, the day before the movie comes out for people to buy pre-sale tickets without seeing the reviews. Which, yes, you could say it's worrying, but it's not always the case that it doesn't unilaterally mean that the movie's going to suck. And the reactions have been a little mixed, but you know what? It's fingers crossed. Like, take it for what you will. It could mean good things or bad things. We have seen movies before that the review embargo lifted the day before the movie came out, and the movie got great reviews, and then sometimes it doesn't. So it is a concern, but it's not like I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it. Honestly, like it's a movie,
Yeah.
Speaking of, John, let's keep going. We got more Summer of Supergirl marketing to talk about.
Yeah. We got a little bit of this.
All the toys. Posing for the camera. I love like how much time they probably spent posing for each of these shots. Like some interns.
Somebody deserves a raise.
Yeah, like this is they clearly spent a lot of time doing this.
And then
exactly, Harold. It's a movie.
In a snapshot. He took a lot of behind the scenes pictures and whatnot.
They look pretty colorful to me. I like it. I mean, it's a little dark at times, but I mean, they filmed the Scottish Highlands. I was like, that sounds fantastic. It's beautiful up there. Cold, but it's beautiful. And like you could see Millie Alcock enjoying the scenery. Yeah.
Ooh, rainbow.
Yeah, like on location
kind of older looking, pictures with the film stock. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and then they did release again more promos. This one more focused on Ruthie and Supergirl and how their characters kind of interact. Because again, Supergirl sort of sees a little bit of herself in Ruthie, because her family got murdered by this like creme of the Yellow Hills. Obviously, like Supergirl lost her family on Krypton and stuff, and so she kind of sees like she needs to help her, but obviously, I guess she learns a thing or two about herself along the way, which is the whole point of the movie. So, yeah. And you know what? MTG is making a great point here that Superman's review embargo lifted pretty much the same way that it's going to do for Supergirl, which was like the day of the early screenings, like the Amazon screenings. Like we're going to see it on Wednesday. It's not an Amazon screening, but is the early screening that people can go check out. It was that morning that they released the review embargo, and Superman had great reviews. So there's every bit as much of a chance that Supergirl could have the same. So yeah. Anyway, let's keep going, John.
We got an international TV spot. So from
there's a lot of new footage in here, John. Like there's some like extended versions of scenes that we haven't seen yet, which look really cool. I've been getting a little bit of a creeping feeling that they're giving away so much of the footage of this movie. But I don't know, maybe once we see the film, I'll be like, it was really just only from like a few scenes. But you do get, they're getting more and more. I feel like at this point, we could probably stitch together the majority of that space bus sequence. Also, Krem clearly can catch that tank, so he does seem to have some level of power. It'll be interesting to see how all this plays into the movie itself.
Yep, and you can kind of see some of the.
Yep, some stills from that. This is actually kind of cool.
This is a bad looking shot.
Yeah, it's just the sequence is cool. That's a bad still frame. We do get a lot of drunken Supergirl in this movie, apparently, which is fun. But this sequence here, you got
not looking great. It is blurry, but like
Crypto. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cute scene. I will say. Oof,
yeah, it's her smile looks a little artificial. That looks like a CGI doubled, right? Like,
it's like it's giving like Punisher falling on an air conditioning vent in One Last Kill kind of vibes. But
that one shot they couldn't quite get right before they had to.
But hey, guys, any Fortnite fans? Then boom, you got Supergirl in Fortnite. Yay, so exciting.
Hell yeah. Not only Supergirl, but now you got the whole House of L in there. Oops, sorry, go ahead, John. You got Crypto and Superman.
You got Soups, you got Supergirl. Perfect, wonderful, amazing.
Yeah. Wow, Millie's Cock. That's a great username. I'm hyped for Supergirl. Good for you, man. We are too. I think you misspelled her last name, but there you go. Just keep going.
I'm excited for Supergirl.
Supergirl. That's great.
But yeah. Then we got a little bit of a
they put out a trailer, I think, or like more
it was a trailer.
Fortnite. Yeah.
Looking cute. Looking nice. Got big hands,
so Millie's is not really a fan of James Gunn, apparently. Okay. We got you. Okay. We see what you're putting down. We're trying to stay positive here. That looks cute. I like Crypto. Give me more Crypto. They're literally they have
Bradley Cooper will literally get every single possible thing in the known universe before he gets an Oscar.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
He's trying though. He's working on that Ocean's 11 prequel right now. Anyway, let's keep going.
But yeah, there's that trailer. The official trailer. We don't need to see that again. But here we have Supergirl and Ruthie, aka Millie Alcock and Eve Ridley, playing with puppies and also doing
the Guide Dogs of America. Everybody, another collaboration. Look at that. Oh, so cute.
Look at all that.
So cute.
Look at all that.
Look at these dogs. How can you not
at all
be positive?
That cuteness? But the dogs are good too.
Hey, she's actually got the comic hardcover in her hands there.
Hopefully the dogs rip that up. Anyway,
that's great, John. Love the positivity. But you know what? I came across it. I think one of you guys sent me this on social media. And it was interesting because the marketing for Supergirl obviously has been everywhere. We've been talking about it extensively pretty much every day here. And according to Everything DCU, which they picked this out of a Deadline article, we'll get to that in a second, But the media partnership for Supergirl included 80 plus sponsors, which have delivered, according to the Warner Brothers metrics, $100 million plus in media value, even before you include the theatrical revenue. So that means basically for Warner Brothers, they've already earned basically $100 million worth of money, and just not literal money, but in essence $100 million. So they're basically counting that against
we do a show we try to do a show every day. If there isn't, we try to tell you guys like, hey, we're not doing a show today, but we try to do one basically day. So Harold, if you aren't already, please subscribe, because we are here Monday through Friday. So DCU Daily, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tuesdays we also do a tier list Tuesday show, so you guys get to vote on that. Then Friday we also do a Fancast Friday, but we are here Monday through Friday. By that logic, in the expansive world of DC, Batman is being shoved down audience members' throats unwillingly, because we got Lego Batman this year, Batman Nightfall, Clayface, which is Batman adjacent, and Batman Cape Crusader in one fucking year. Don't talk to me about how Supergirl is being shoved down people's throats unwillingly, when the last time we got Supergirl was either the Flash movie or Legion of Superheroes. I forget, or Justice League, Crisis on Infinite Earths. I forget what appearance, but like, bro, come on now.
Yeah. Well, Clayface is a Batman character, but there's no Batman in that movie, right?
Yeah, but it's Batman adjacent. Yeah. But if we're removing Clayface from that equation, we're getting 3 Batman-related projects this year alone. We got 3 Supergirl projects in the last 5 or 6 years?
Yeah.
So,
and you know what? It's also like there's going to be a ton of other characters in Man of Tomorrow. It's not just the Superman thing. But we're
getting Dynamic Duo in 2028. Yeah. So,
yep.
Boom. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Trolls being trolls, but
it's
that's
all
okay.
good. Well, no, I mean, it's good to address all sides of the argument, but look, Supergirl, for Warner Brothers, has already basically earned them $100 million or more in all these partner campaigns, where literally these other brands pay to have Supergirl attached to their brand. So, John, they actually go through a nice list of options, or not options, of all the different partners that they've worked with, and a lot of them we have talked about. So
yeah, I mean, from last year, Superman had Timex, Samsung, American Airlines, Milkbone. There was DQ. I remember that one. So you got
KFC. So some of these are US only, but then
Waymo,
some of them are global. So
Ulta.
So by the way, KFC and Waymo are global partners. Samsung is global. Ulta is US and Mexico. So depending on where you are in the world, you might not see American Airlines is global. So they've put out ads.
Is US. Best Friends Animal Society, Pumpkin Insurance, Stanley Steamer. I didn't even know that. Stanley is spelled wrong. US
Best Animal. So by the way, the Best Animal
Pinkberry.
Society. Sorry, the go back a bit, because you've got the Cold Stone stuff going, but if you go up a little bit, because for Superman they partnered up with the Milkbone as well as the Best Friends Animal Society, so that's I'm sure they're gonna do it again next year because crypto will be around. But yeah, I don't know what is Pumpkin Insurance. Anyway. Timex is, I haven't seen a ton of Timex stuff at Supergirl, but we did talk a lot about those watches for Superman last year. I'm still not sold on the Cold Stone flavors they came up with. The Pinkberry looked interesting. I'll get some frozen yogurt with that. The Galactic Lemonade sounds like an interesting flavor to try. But there's more, John. There's more Supergirl collaborations, more partners.
Gotta need
milk. Very American.
Is that like Got Milk? And then you got the Synergy Kombucha.
Synergy Kombucha, baby. I don't know how kombucha connects to Supergirl, but there you go. They did that too.
How the fuck does Cold Stone connect to Supergirl? I don't fucking know.
I mean, look, Jalen's making a good point. If you go to the top of the headline again, it looks like for Warner Brothers, they've already picked up basically $100 million plus worth of media value. So it's not like literal dollars and cents, but it's media value, which they're basically counting. Let's just say for them, that's already money that they've made back on the movie, which does explain if the break-even point for this movie is 315 or something in that range, you do the math. If they spend 150 35 to 150 million making this movie, which is kind of the number that we've all been looking at and what James Gunn hinted at, or inferred more or less. You add to that maybe another 50 to 80 million dollar in marketing. Yeah, it makes sense. If they already got $100 million worth of like stuff in the bag, then it puts less pressure on the movie to succeed at the box office. Also, John, the merchandise for this movie is going to sell because you got all the crypto stuff coming out. And then once the movie's out of theaters, we talk about how movies make more money in post theatrical pay windows. Like you got renting, buying, on digital, on physical media. It's going to end up on streaming services. It will go on HBO Max. It will eventually end up on other services. Every time it gets sold somewhere else, and depending on which market you're in, if you're not on HBO Max, it's already being licensed to a third-party, streaming service, like a Netflix, for example, in some markets. It's making money. So, but as far as the box office goes, John, all of that being said, based on everything we've talked about, this money that's already, in the bag, I feel like, 300 to 400 million is still a pretty good range. I feel like if it does that, if it gets off to, let's say, 55 to 65 million domestic, add another 30, 40 internationally, if it opens to 100 million plus worldwide, like it needs to at that point 3x that number to get to 300 million. But I'm like, it's like, leave it in theaters for long enough and you can do that, right? Like Michael's still in theaters and is doing well. We have seen like Project Hail Mary, like did that. F1 did it last year. Like if you leave it in there long enough, even if a lot of people go watch Minions and Monsters the following week, or just go watch Toy Story 5 again, eventually they're going to come around to it. Or like there will be days like once the Odyssey comes out, the Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day are going to be such big movies that if you can't get tickets to those, you might go watch Supergirl again. So there's a chance that, I think 300 to 400 million is still a pretty good range. I don't know, John, where do you sit? What is a realistic number for you at the box office?
It could be...
Yeah, Jordan.
Wait, so sorry, for the whole box office or just...
For the entirety of it, because I feel like $100 million worldwide opening weekend is probably what we're going to get if the
I think
projections are
that's
right.
pretty good.
But like 300 to 400 million, if that is like the range to break even, do you think that's a feasible target for Supergirl?
I think so. I think it's definitely feasible. I think I think
Marvel
that's definitely the case. I think 100 million is definitely the case. That could definitely work.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, look, Marvel Cuphead is a big fan. He's thinking Supergirl will be a big hit. I think a lot of us agree with you on that. A lot of us agree with you. There's a daily reminder from John. The Snyderverse is dead. There we go. Even though I'm a fan of those Zack Snyder movies, I can admit that, that's in the past. It's behind us. It's behind us. Yeah, Mando and Grogu is going to do great on Disney Plus because that's where the audience for that show is. They just made a movie out of it. So, but anyway, look, it's going to be fun. This time tomorrow, we'll be talking more about, Supergirl. We'll be getting into the trailer for Batman Nightfall, which is going to be releasing. And then, of course, in a couple of days, more of us get to see the movie. And so we'll go through all the reviews once the embargo lifts. If you guys are new, we see a lot of new names in the chat each and every day and today. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. And then, of course, be sure to, subscribe because, like I said, we are here 5 days a week, DCU Daily, Monday through Friday. And then Tuesdays, John, the last I checked for Tier List Tuesday, it looks like 10 things we got before GTA 6 will be what we are talking about on Tier List Tuesday tomorrow.
Look, it's been updated.
Oh,
last time I checked, it was tied, but I refreshed it and
it was. Oh shit! All right, DC movies and shows so far. So all right, we'll be doing that then. Okay, cool. All right, so tomorrow, join us for DCU Daily. Join us for Tier List Tuesday. We'll be back at it, and then today was really long.
Because I wanted to include that link, and I was like, it was tied last time. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting.
Ooh.
And then I was like, and then I refreshed. I was
back
like,
and forth it goes.
Yeah,
I haven't refreshed my page clearly. There you go, DCU 1. Look at that. And on that wonderful note,
you still got an extra 5-ish hours.
Yeah,
not extra 5.
12
until
15
5
hours.
o'clock.
We call it at 5 p.m. Eastern time on a Tuesday. So as of right now, when we're doing this live, you have literally 15 hours from now. We'll lock it in. So who knows? Maybe it will still be that, or maybe somebody will vote up the other options. So Anyway, let's keep. Now let's keep going, John. I think we should wrap it up here.
God, how long is this show, Dan? Jesus Christ!
I don't know. This is like a really long movie. This looks like one of those like this. I think we went longer than the Batman did.
Yeah,
but we'll leave it
more
there.
engaging, more fun.
I'll take it. All right, John. We'll be back tomorrow. DCU Daily, Tier List Tuesday. See you guys then. Stay blessed from the beginning and at the end. Goodbye.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go. Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
Fuck Tom King, David Ellison, and Jeff Snyder.